What is up, rebel colonists and Earthsphere citizens? I am just a simple new type, and this will be our first video that dives directly into the After Colony universe and Mobile Suit Gundam Wing. Like many people, this was my first introduction into the Gundam franchise as I watched this on Toonami back in the day. But does it hold up? Well, I am going to find out. In this series, we will follow 5 Gundam pilots who stand up to the oppressive Oz military. Let's not waste any time, and let's dive into this. Several nations establish colonies in space. This marks year 1 of the After Colony calendar, AC-20. Colony A0206 is constructed at Lagrange Point 5. AC-50. The Middle East leaves the oil industry and gets into building colonies. This allows construction of colonies and other Lagrange points. AC-102. A colony is complete at L1. With this success, humanity pushes forward and starts creating colony clusters. During this time, a conflict occurs on Earth and causes 15% of humanity to migrate to the colonies. AC-130. Tensions die down on Earth. Katrina and Sabrina Peacecraft of Sank Kingdom are born. AC-133. The United Earth Sphere Alliance is formed. AC-140. Many of the Earth nations join the Alliance and force their sister colonies to follow the Alliance authority. AC-147. The Alliance forcibly seizes control of all colonies. AC-165. The colonies elect a man named Hiroyui as their first representative. AC-173. Oz begins development of the mobile suit. AC-175. Hiroyui is assassinated. AC-176. The Alliance begins using mobile suits to start suppressing colony revolts. AC-177. Mass production of the Ares begins. AC-180. Relina Peacecraft is born. AC-191. Terrorists steal designs of the Ares prototype. And that brings us to the beginning of this story, after Colony 195. The colonies plan to commence Operation Meteor, but the Alliance catches on to the operation. Operation Meteor is a plan created by rebel colonists to send new fighters to Earth disguised as meteors. 5 objects heads towards Earth. The Earth Sphere informs Lieutenant Zex Marquise, who is in the area. He monitors one object heading in the Eurasian territory. A capsule is nearby and watching this all go down. It contains Vice Foreign Minister Darlian and his daughter Relina. The object speeds up while re-entering the atmosphere. It breaks apart, revealing a pod of some sort. Zex decides to launch in his Leo. The Oz-06 MS Leo is created based off of the data of the first mobile suit created, the Tall Geese, which we will see later in action. It has a 105mm rifle, beam saber, shield, a Dober gun, and much more. 2 Ares pilots assist him. The Oz-07 AMS Ares is capable of high-speed flight due to its jet engines and can convert into a flight mode. The Ares usually has more powerful ammunition compared to the Leo, but its armor is lacking. It has a chain rifle, missile pod, and beam cannon. After they all break through Earth's atmosphere, the pod transforms into a winged mobile suit. The Leo launches its parachute, while the Ares attack the mysterious mobile suit. This is the Wing Gundam. The XXXG-01W Wing Gundam, known simply as 01, is one of the 5 mobile suits created for Operation Meteor. This is a well-rounded mobile suit that utilizes a bird mode, which is accomplished by the Gundam's wing unit on its backpack. This, along with the Gundam's AMBAC system, make this a very aerodynamic Gundam. However, it was not installed with a Zero system, which we will dive deeper in later. Unlike Oz-based mobile suits, these Gundams contain a spherical 360-degree cockpit to allow the pilot full range of view. It has a buster rifle, Vulcans, machine cannon, shield, and beam saber. The Gundam is able to take out both Ares with one attack. Zex in his Leo goes in and grabs the Gundam. He ejects and breaks out the parachute. Darlian goes to visit General Septim, while Relina walks home. She is mad that her father hasn't recognized that her birthday is coming soon. While walking, she runs into the Gundam pilot who washed up on shore. At an opera, we meet Trace Kushanada, head of the United Earth Sphere Alliance Special Forces known as Oz. Oz stands for Organization of the Zodiac. Zex is also a part of Oz. He is informed by Zex of the situation with the Gundam. Trace meets with General Septim, who yells about losing military resources. Meanwhile, back on the beach, the mysterious mobile suit pilot wakes up to find that Relina called the ambulance. Shit, she saw your face. Time to blow yourself up. Shit, that didn't work either. Time to steal this ambulance, I guess. He drives away before Relina could even ask what his name was. Meanwhile, we meet the 4 other mobile suit pilots taking out a spaceport. The pilots are Dual Maxwell in the Death Side, Troa Barton in the Heavy Arms, Katra Roberto Viner in the Sandrock, and Chang Wufei in the Shinlong. The next day, Relina heads to school. It seems she is the richest and most popular person at school. A new student is attending class for the first time. He introduces himself as Hiro Yui. Relina recognizes him as the mysterious pilot. Later in the day, Relina gives him an invitation letter and invites him to her birthday party, but he instantly tears it up in front of her. She begins to cry, but Hiro wipes her tears away. As he passes her, he whispers what every girl loves to hear. Now that is true love. Relina is very scaroused. At school, a man challenges Hiro to a fencing duel. He instantly wins. Zex is heading towards where the Gundam crash landed in the ocean. He asks some allies above to help their sub with engine troubles in exchange for 2 of their underwater mobile suits. Zex actually doesn't have engine trouble, but this is the only way to get the Marina to cooperate. Hiro continues showing off as he is a master equestrian. He uses a school computer to hack into military documents. He also steals money and removes his debts. Zex sends out the Pisces and Cancer. The Oz-09 MMS Pisces is one of the aquatic mobile suits from Oz. It has a submarine mode for high-speed underwater pursuit. Its propellers can be used as claws in its mobile suit form. Its main purpose is coastal bombardment. The Oz-08 MMS Cancer is the second mass-produced underwater mobile suit from Oz. Each arm contains a torpedo launcher and has a pincer-like claw. It looks similar to a crab. It also has anti-ground missiles. Underwater, Pisces and Cancer run into Death Scythe Gundam. The XXXG-01D Gundam Death Scythe, simply known as 02, has stealth capabilities. It has jammers on its backpack to prevent it from showing up on radar. Death Scythe, like many units in the past, is designed to get in, do as much damage, and get out as fast as possible. It is the fastest of 5 Gundams. Its primary weapon is, of course, its beam scythe. Other weapons include Vulcans, a machine cannon, a buster shield, and a generic cannon. The captain that talked to Zex earlier decides to drop bombs onto Death Scythe, regardless of the fact that Zex's sub is in the line of fire. Death Scythe jumps onto the captain's aircraft carriers and destroys them. At Relina's birthday party, she sees that her father has photos of the mysterious Gundam. At the circus, the Heavy Arms pilot asks for a job. Elsewhere, Katra is admiring the beauty of Earth while Wu Fei purchases some bombs. Zex finally stumbles onto the Wing Gundam. They go to investigate when an alarm goes off. Suddenly a flashbang appears. It is Death Scythe. Duo in the Death Scythe takes out a Pisces quick. The Cancer lasts a little longer, but Duo destroys it with ease. He turns off the self-destruct mode and takes the Gundam as a backup. Hiro is stealing some bombs from the military base when Relina comes in and starts questioning him. He points a gun at her and says she is in too deep. Suddenly, someone shoots at Hiro. It is Duo trying to save Relina, but she stops him from attacking. Hiro gets up and activates the stolen torpedoes. The torpedoes hit Wing and Death Scythe. Hiro plops in the water. He's fine. You will notice a running theme of Hiro trying to blow everything up, including himself. Zex talks to Trace. He decides to give up on finding the Wing Gundam and starts searching for the other 4 Gundams around the Mediterranean. Hiro is held at an Earthsphere Alliance hospital. They try to decode a disc on Hiro's person, and they speculate that he may be one of the rebel colonists. Relina meets with Major Sally P. She wants to know more about the man she brought in. Duo comes in to bust out Hiro. An explosion goes off. People evacuate the hospital. Duo unties Hiro, who is already savagely ripping through his restraints. They both jump out of the hospital, but Hiro is passed out. Relina screams out to Hiro as he wakes up and opens his chute, but it is too late. He takes the fall like a champ. Duo and Hiro run off. One thing to note here is that Trace is also a part of the elite group called the Specials. This group is hated by the higher-ups of the Alliance as they have autonomous power within the military. He is also the founder of the Romefeller Foundation, which supplies the Alliance with mobile suits. Zex meets up with a man named Walker and shows him the Tall Geese. After reviewing the Gundam data they received, it seems the prototype Tall Geese is bigger than the Leo and could in theory compete with the Gundam if some mods were made. Meanwhile, the Specials head out towards an attack on one of their bases. It is Troa in the Heavy Arms. They begin to attack him. The XXG-01H Heavy Arms, or 03, is a heavy weapon version of the Wing Gundam in terms of artillery, and has the firepower of 3 to 5 battleships. It is also able to perform acrobatic melee attacks due to Troa being a circus boy. It has Vulcans, a machine cannon, chest Gatling gun, homing missiles, micro missiles, a beam Gatling gun, and an army knife and beam saber. Heavy Arms does a lot of damage to the Specials, but it runs out of ammo. Suddenly, Katra in the Sandrock Gundam comes in to destroy the remaining Specials pilots. The XXG-0SR Gundam Sandrock is designed specifically for desert environments. It has a sophisticated communication system and designed to be a commander unit for the Magnet Corps as well as the other 5 Gundams. It has Vulcans, a heat shuttle, a shield, a cross cruncher, which is a rock-crushing weapon, and home missiles. Heavy Arms and Sandrock engage in battle, but Katra says it isn't right. Both get out of their Gundam and talk. Meanwhile, Duo watches Hiro snap his broken leg back into place. 55% of the factory at Corsica Base has been destroyed by the hands of the Heavy Arms. Zex talks with Lucretia Noin, a mobile suit instructor at Lake Victoria Military Academy. Zex was once a top student at this academy. Zex and Noin meet for the first time in a while. They have different philosophies in life. She trains but hopes to never have to fight in battle, while Zex knows not to get too attached to his men. Meanwhile, Lake Victoria is attacked by Wu Fei. Leos go out to find the culprit. They can't find him. Noin gets into her Ares. She uses heat sensing to spot Wu Fei. He gets away on his motorcycle and gets into Shinlong Gundam. The XXG-01S Shinlong Gundam, or 05, is a close combat high agility mobile suit and has the highest level of fighting ability amongst the 5 Gundams. It has the ability to reproduce the moves of a Chinese martial artist. It has Vulcans, a Chinese-style beam glaive, a shield, and a dragon fang. It also has a fighting sight to calculate fighting movements. Wu Fei makes fun of her for being a woman. He disables her mobile suit. Meanwhile, Oz is shipping out a bunch of Taurus mobile suits on a carrier. Wu Fei uses his space laser to take down the carrier. Back on Duo's ship, Hiro Yui gets a message that the enemy carrier is transporting Gundanium alloy and must destroy it as his next mission. He must fix his Gundam before going out on this mission. Meanwhile, Relina stares into the ocean while yelling out for Hiro Yui to kill her. She seems to be handling rejection in a healthy manner. Duo wakes up to find that Hiro finished fixing his mobile suit, but he soon realizes that he stole parts from his own death scythe. Hiro goes out and easily destroys the transport ship. Back at Katra's place, Katra and Troa have a jam session. Hell yeah, flute and violin jam session? The Magnet Corps is Quattro's home. They fix up both Gundams. We'll talk more on them later. After a losing battle at Lake Victoria, Noin says F this. She decides to join Zex in his search for the Gundams. Wu Fei yells at some hyenas and the moon. Relina and her father, Mr. Dorian, are on their way to the colonies with Lady Un. One thing to note is that the father's name is Dorian in Japanese. I think they were going for Dorian, like Dorian Gray, but the dub in the wiki translated to Darlian, but I am sticking with Dorian. Lady Un showed up earlier, but we haven't had a need to talk about her until now. She is a very loyal Trace follower, and she also has multiple personalities. One personality is cold and ruthless, while the other is very diplomatic. It seems like she has a plan to do something to Mr. Dorian. Hiro gets a message and instantly wakes up. It looks like he has a new mission. Mr. Dorian is in a meeting. Lady Un leaves her a compact mirror near the meeting room, but it is actually a bomb. Relina sees it and gives it back to Lady Un. With only 10 seconds remaining, she throws it into the window where Mr. Dorian is. It explodes. Relina runs to go save her father, but he is badly injured. A group from the Colony Liberation Organization comes in to save Relina and her father. Now, the Gundam Wiki refers to them as the Colony Liberation Organization, but they will never be named throughout the show. So unless it showed up on a Gunpla kit or something, there isn't much about the name of this organization. As Mr. Dorian lays slowly dying, he looks up to Relina and tells her that he isn't her biological father and that her real name is Relina Peacecraft. She is a part of the famous Peacecraft family of the Sunk Kingdom. A family named Peacecraft that preaches the ideals of peace. What are the odds? Relina passes out. The Colony Liberation Organization drugged her. The Gundam pilots are prepping for more missions. Duo finally fixed up the Death Scythe. Meanwhile, Troa leaves Quattro's place. Based off of Quattro's responses, I'm pretty sure the two of them just had sex.
Do you really have to leave?
Also, Wu Fei is attacking an Oz ship. Relina wakes up to find her dad is dead. Dorian's last words were to watch out for Oz. On the news, they blame the attack on terrorists. Relina wants revenge on Oz for what they have done. Hiro Yui heads out and begins his mission. On the colonies, Relina meets with Dr. J. He is the one who built and designed the Gundam Wing and sent Hiro Yui to Earth. He tells her that he was trained since birth to be a soldier of war. He goes on to explain who the original Hiro Yui was, the man who preached peace in the colonies. They eventually assassinated Hiro Yui to start a war. Hiro is in the midst of his mission when Duo and Death Scythe come in. It seems that they are after the same thing and they must now fight. Hiro destroys a Leo behind him and takes off. It was just a bluff, and Hiro laughs it off and takes off. Dr. J gets Relina on a shuttle so she could head back to Earth. He says that she has the same determination in her eyes as the original Hiro Yui. Back on Earth, Relina is getting overwhelmed by the press. She consoles with her mother over the death of her father. Trace and Lady Un have a conversation. She tells Trace that Relina was a witness to the incident and that she needs to take care of her, as in kill her. At school, Hiro is leaving. He hacked the computers to transfer himself closer to his next mission. Relina tells Hiro that she has met Dr. J and that he should at least stay for the party. Wu Fei attacks another Oz base.
It's a Gundam!
While Troa does some circus shit. Meanwhile, while dancing, Lady Un comes in and attacks the school. Hiro notices them appearing before they even launch any mobile suits. Lady Un launches Ares and Leos, but Hiro is able to get the upper hand. She wonders why the Gundam is showing up here. Quattro knows that Troa is a Gundam pilot, but he finds out that there are simultaneous attacks on Oz bases. He realizes that there are more Gundam pilots like him. While fighting with Ares, the school is attacked and a piece of rubble comes falling towards Relina. Hiro saves Relina, but he is very upset with himself for saving her life. Trace contacts Lady Un. He tells her that the mission is cancelled and that Relina is to be kept alive. It was Noin who talked to Trace on behalf of Zex. It is insinuated that Zex is also a part of the Peacecraft family and that he knows that Relina is also a Peacecraft. Relina yells out to Hiro, asking why he isn't killing her. The show is very dramatic. He runs away from Relina. Lady Un tells Trace that an empty Oz ship landed at the New Edwards base. Trace wants it to appear as though some giant alliance meeting is taking place at New Edwards base, when in fact, nothing is happening at all. Or is it? Hiro receives a new mission. It is to attack New Edwards base. The trap has been laid. The other Gundam pilots are also taking the bait. Meanwhile, Oz tells the people that they are meeting, when in fact it is a meeting of the Alliance leaders. The majority wants to open up dialogue between the colonies and Earth. While meeting, their base is under attack. It is the Gundams. Wing and Death Scythe tear through Leos. Meanwhile, Zex begins a mission in Nairobi. He plans on taking over all Alliance bases. Now remember that Trace is a part of the Alliance, but also in control of the elite forces group called the Specials. This is the group that is taking over all the bases currently. The Alliance evacuates Edward's base. Trace has a shuttle for the Alliance leader Noventa, but tells Commander Septum that there is a special shuttle just for him. At each base, there are Specials soldiers that infiltrated the ranks of the Alliance members, which helped Oz during this coup. It seems Oz is prepared to create a new alliance with Oz at the forefront. Asian, European, and African bases all have been seized by Oz. Death Scythe and Wing are being overwhelmed by Leos when suddenly Heavy Arms and Sandrock come in to help. Hiro and Duo think that they are Oz mobile suits. They don't know that they are on the same side, but Hiro recognizes Noventa's shuttle taking off. He quickly goes into mobile armor mode, catches up with the shuttle, and takes it out with no hesitation. Hiro completes his mission. Meanwhile, Trace and Septum take off. It seems Trace wants Septum alive. The Gundams begin fighting with one another when Wu Fei and the Shenlong Gundam stops them. Wu Fei tells them that they essentially just killed the Peacemakers and let Oz take over. Commander Septum tells the masses that the colonies did an all-out attack on Earth and that this means war. After giving his message to the world, Lady Un tells him that he is no longer needed. She throws him out of the shuttle and also shoots him in the head. Savage. Hiro wonders what he just did. Oz's plan to trick the Gundams into attacking the Alliance is successful. This will cause the Earth sphere to take some action towards the colonies. Choa and Wu Fei are still fighting off mobile suits. One new Oz mobile suit that we see here is the Tragos. The Oz-07 MS Tragos is a ground-based mobile suit designed to support Leos. The Tragos is superior to Leos when it comes to melee combat. They hover above ground, making them quicker, but their biggest enemies are hills. It does have legs, but it slows the unit down to a grinding halt. It has a beam rifle and a cannon. They are frustrated that Trace and Oz were able to get away. Meanwhile, Lady Un tells her subordinates to fire missiles onto the new Edwards base, killing the mobile suits. The subordinates think that this is overkill. Sally Poe is noticing many planes needing landing clearance due to the attack on New Edwards. Her ship picks up a transmission that they plan on destroying the base. She goes in to intercept, but it is too late. The bombs have been armed and will attack the base in 900 seconds. She tries to disable the bombs, but it is fruitless. She has no choice but to try to get Hiro to help. Last episode, Hiro escaped from Sally Poe's clutches after Relina brought him in to the hospital. Hiro is still moping around while everyone fights around him. Sally contacts Hiro and asks him to deactivate the bombs. The bombs will have a 300-kilometer blast radius, so they can't escape in time. Hiro goes to stop the bomb. Everyone puts their lives in the hands of Hiro, which is a weird leap in trust when you all just kind of met. Hiro is able to stop the bombs from going off. Everyone steals a shuttle, stashes their Gundam, and takes off. Trace chastises Un for resorting to throwing bombs at her problems and reminds her that they have a limited number of resources on Earth. At Luxembourg, Zex is continuing his assault on the Alliance bases, but this particular attack is personal. He finds General Daigo Onagel. He is the man responsible for ordering an invasion on the Sunk Kingdom years ago. He thought that destroying the Sunk Kingdom and the Peacecraft family would allow the expansion of their military power. Onagel recognizes Zex for who he really is, Milliardo Peacecraft. The general reaches for a gun, but Zex shoots him. Zex says goodbye to Milliardo Peacecraft. Carriers from the New Edwards base request landing on Lady Un's aircraft carrier, but it is a trap. They crash into the carriers. It is the Gundam pilots. They launch Leos. Wu Fei gets into Shenlong Gundam, and Troa gets into Heavy Arms before kamikazing the shuttles.
It's a Gundam!
Their Gundams are unharmed, of course. Shenlong engages with the Leo piloted by Lady Un. Wu Fei destroys Un's arm. His Gundam is superior to the Leo. He jumps over to Trace's ship. Wu Fei attacks the bridge, and both him and Trace engage in a sword duel. However, Trace's fencing style wins against Wu Fei. He lets Wu Fei go, but Wu Fei wants Trace to kill him. He refuses, and Shenlong takes off in shame. Underwater, Heavy Arms is destroying Cancer mobile suits when Wu Fei returns beaten and broken. Zex and Noin are having a conversation after taking over Luxembourg base. Zex believes that Oz will free the world from the Alliance's grip, but Noin thinks that Oz taking control will eventually be no different than how the Alliance is currently running things. A carrier lands with Otto, carrying the tall geese. His ribs are broken. It appears it was from test piloting the tall geese, and he was injured in the process. He says this is the fastest mobile suit he has ever piloted. The mobile suit's limits haven't been reached yet, however. He tells Zex that he should be careful when piloting this tall geese. They plan on heading to the Sank Kingdom. Zex takes the tall geese out without a test. At a new location, Duo and Hiro take it to the courts in their new school. Duo tells Hiro that he is always looking a little too suspicious. A limo pulls up. It is Relina. It seems that she was looking for Hiro and finally found him. Meanwhile, Oz attacks the Sank Kingdom. Of course, not all nations are going to allow Oz to simply come in and take over. Zex goes in with the tall geese while Noin pilots the Ares. He struggles to handle the immense speed. The nation has laser defense systems. Zex tells everyone to retreat, but he continues to battle. He realizes that the tall geese is most likely a limitless mobile suit, but there is one weakness, and it is the pilot. After this realization, he too retreats. Back in the desert, Rashid and the Magwanat Corps chastise Katra for leaving to help the other Gundam pilots. He tells Rashid of the existence of the other Gundams. Hey Katra, your voice sounds a little familiar there.
This must be the manual. No, it's nothing like that at all. My existence is the reason.
At the circus, Troa and Wu Fei enjoy a nice cup of tea. Wu Fei is still feeling shame from losing a duel with Trace Kutranada. Zex wakes up to Noin by his side. He tells her that the tall geese will sacrifice its pilots in order to win, and will ignore the pilots' needs. Zex wants to go back in the tall geese and finish off the Sank Kingdom. Otto overhears this and decides to take things into his own hands. He gets into the tall geese and handles business himself. Zex finds out and tells Otto to come back. Otto tells him he wants to sacrifice himself for Zex and not for Oz. Aw, he loves his buddy. Meanwhile, Relina talks to a picture of her dad when suddenly an explosion occurs. It is Duo and Hiro. It isn't healthy to be turned on by this, Relina. Seek some help. Duo and Hiro complete their mission by destroying an Oz base. Back at the Sank Kingdom, Otto comes in, powering the tall geese. Zex and Noin follow him in a copter. Otto crashes into the Sank Kingdom base. He lays dead in the cockpit, but the base is destroyed. Zex walks through the remains of the Sank Kingdom, his former home. He looks at a picture of his father and tells him that he is unfit to run the Peacecraft family. He finds a framed photo of his Peacecraft heirs, including him and Relina. He believes that Relina may be the one worthy enough to rule the kingdom. The episode ends with Relina wanting Hiro to stay by his side, as Hiro and Duo walk away from her. Dost thou beeth too dramatic? Lady Un is concerned that Trace is given too much special priority. Trace tells her that this isn't a concern. Zex and Trace have a meeting. Now that Zex has taken control of the Sank Kingdom, he assumes that Zex will become Milliardo Peacecraft once again, but Zex insists on serving Trace and Oz for a little longer. Trace asks him if he will now take off his mask since he no longer has to hide his identity from the Sank Kingdom. He, however, keeps it on as a reminder of his scars on the battlefield. Lady Un briefs her men on a mission to destroy Gundams as well as transport tourist mobile suits to an Oz base. She gives the Gundams the classifications 01 through 05. Zex will take on Unit 1 with the tall geese. Noin will stay back at the base to back up Lady Un. Meanwhile, Duo and Hiro get a mission to attack the Taurus and the transport ships. Duo has a bad feeling about this one. The other Gundam pilots also get missions. Wu Fei is still being dramatic and denouncing himself as the Gundam pilot. Duo and Hiro find the route that Oz is traveling and tracks down the transport train. Katra comes in to help Duo, but he tells them this is a decoy and not the real target. Hiro heads to the ground and takes out Oz units, but Tall Geese comes in. He tells him to duel like some 16th century man, and Hiro of course accepts. They fight with beam sabers. At the base, Lady Un contacts the Bulge. Yeah, look at that bulge. Oz has taken control of all of the Alliance bases in space. Lady Un tells the Gundam pilots that if they do not surrender their Gundams, then she will attack the colonies. Suddenly, Dr. J comes on the monitors and tells Oz that he is the one fighting and to leave the colonists out of it. Dr. J decides to surrender. Dr. J, you might want to tell Hiro he's a little trigger happy. He might do something a little... didn't even give it 2 seconds of thought, just goes straight to suicide always. He essentially called Lady Un's bluff. Troa in the heavy arms comes in and picks up Hiro's body. The Gundams all retreat. Unit 1 is destroyed. Dr. J is also safe now. Noin tells Lady Un that Trace is indeed mad at her about her cowardly tactics. Duo and Catra meet up after hiding for a little bit. Catra lets him tag along with him and the Magwanaut Corps. Zex and Noin gather around the remaining scraps of the Gundanium that was once the Gundam. Zex wants the Gundam scraps to fix up the Tallgeese. They send the scraps to Lake Victoria Base. Lady Un apologizes to Trace. He decides to send her to space, but she will first go to Moscow as a representative. Catra and Duo meet up with Sadaoi, the leader of the Magwanaut Corps. The two Gundam pilots also officially introduce one another. Relina finds out that Hiro already transferred to another school. She also heads to Moscow. Marquis Weeridge meets with Relina and allows her into the party. Weeridge is a part of the Rumfeller Foundation. Specifically, he is a part of the moderate faction. He is also Relina's real grandfather. He tells Relina that he was fond of the Peacecraft family ideals. Lady Un joins the party as she was invited as a representative of Trace. Relina doesn't hesitate and pulls out a gun and tries to shoot Lady Un for killing her father. She misses and runs off. At the Magwanaut Corps, the city is underground, but they have a city front on the surface. Oz soldiers come into the city. They end up placing bombs all throughout the town. It seems they are after the Gundams. They plan on evacuating the city and attacking the soldiers. This will allow the Gundams to escape. At midnight, the bombs go off. Everyone is safe. The Magwanauts attack. Most are piloting Magwanauts, but some are Abdul Customs and Ahmad Customs. The WMS-03 Magwanaut Abdul Custom and the WMS-03 Magwanaut Ahmad Custom are variants of the WMS-03 Magwanaut. It is a mobile suit designed by the Magwanaut Corps, specifically for desert combat. It is very versatile and can surpass the Leo in performance, though my guess is that it wouldn't hold up outside of the desert environment, but they can be adapted to be used in space, so who knows. They are also designed to back up and support Catra's Sandrock Gundam. It has Vulcans, a shield, a beam rifle, a beam saber, and an arm rifle. It also has an anti-beam coating which protects from beam attacks but doesn't protect the head. Many of the pilots customize their own Magwanaut unit. The Ahmad Custom is piloted by Ahmad and has a bigger shoulder armor and high mobility backpack. This adds a heat tomahawk and a 180mm cannon. The Abdul Custom has an additional camera on its head and large thrusters. This unit acts like a commander type unit. Catra and Duo leave on a shuttle, but Duo wants to help somehow. He tells Catra to turn around. Duo gets in the death sight and does a little sniping. Meanwhile, Relina is running through Moscow. Some soldiers find her. Noin comes in and tells them that she is taking over. Noin takes Relina into custody. Hiro wakes up badly injured to find himself at the traveling circus with Troa. We find out that a month has gone by since Oz initially took control of the Alliance, and they really haven't done anything since. On top of that, Troa hasn't received a mission since that day. In a region in China, a leader was preaching peace and demilitarization. He was assassinated, and the oppressive Colonel Bunte was placed in charge. A series of guerrillas begin an attack on this region. The leader of this group is Sally Po. They escape an attack. Leos come in. She whips out a bazooka, but from out of the forest comes Wu Fei and the Shinlong to assist. It should also be noted that Wu Fei refers to Shinlong Gundam as Nitaku. Look at that, he named it. That's nice. Wu Fei joins them in the city where they find soldiers beating up a restaurant owner. Wu Fei comes in to save Sally and the restaurant owner, but then calls himself a coward. Get over it, dude. Wu Fei takes off on his own. Sally returns to the gorilla hometown, but Oz comes in and attacks them. It seems that Brunte is talking to an Oz soldier and is allowing Oz to simply take over the nation, thinking that he will still be in charge. He betrays the people of his nation. Wu Fei comes back. The gorillas yell at Wu Fei that he needs to help with the Gundam. A Leo comes in and attacks them. One gorilla dies in Wu Fei's arms. Sally even sacrifices herself to help Wu Fei get his groove back, but he saves Sally and gets into his Gundam. He takes down the remaining Ares and helicopters, and Oz retreats. Wu Fei sees that no matter how weak Sally is, she will fight no matter what. This inspires Wu Fei. At the circus, the ringleader tells everyone that they plan on doing a performance on an Oz base. Troa decides to handle the performance on his own. Of course, he is going to use this opportunity to make an attack. This time, however, he is acting on his emotions. He says it will be his last grandstand show. Zex is going through tests with the Tallgeese. It seems that he is finally starting to master its controls. Meanwhile, a Cancer and Ares attacks an Alliance base. These two mobile suits are piloted by Alex and Mueller. The base surrenders, but they have no intention of taking prisoners and continue destroying the base. After they destroy the base, they head back to Lake Victoria. They are heading back to get some supplies. They are former students of Noin. When they get back to the base, they realize their former ace piloting school is now a mobile suit maintenance base. They need more men, but the base can't supply them with more troops. The only pilot at the base is Zex. They confront Zex. They are planning on attacking the Mogadishu fortress of the former Alliance. He decides that he will join them as a subordinate. Zex is a colonel, while Alex and Mueller are lieutenants, so this is unorthodox. They all head out in their mobile suits and begin their assault. The Alliance uses the Noventa cannon to try to prevent the attack. They fire the cannon towards the Tallgeese, but it does nothing to the unit. Due to its speed, the Alliance is unable to lock onto the unit. Zex destroys the base's anti-air defenses. Zex sends a transmission to the base to surrender and they accept, but Alex and Mueller continue killing. Zex finds this appalling. They begin attacking Zex, but he kills Mueller instantly. He goes underwater and finds Alex and rips his Cancer apart. Back at the base, he sends a report to Noin about teaching more than just skills to her pilots. Zex goes to the hangar where he has the remains of Unit 01. Meanwhile, Troa is scouting the base. Last time, he volunteered himself for a suicide mission, destroying an Oz base using the circus as a front. He prepares for the performance and unveils his heavy arms Gundam. He starts attacking the base. Catherine, the girl from the circus following Troa, tries to convince him not to kill himself. She does what any self-respecting Gundam character would do. Her tears are literally able to stop Troa. The name of the episode is called Catherine's Tears. Title drop. The next day, Troa and Hito take off with the heavy arms on the back of a truck. As they take off, Catherine mentions that she is sure that he will return to the circus one day. Hito and Troa are in a library researching Sylvia Noventa, who is the granddaughter of Field Marshal Noventa. Noventa was killed when Hito struck down his shuttle, not realizing that he was one of the few Alliance members that was preaching peace and negotiation. Now that Noventa and his people are gone, all that is left is nationalists and warmongers. While researching, Troa tells Hito to take better care of himself. He is probably still injured from the dislocation of his shoulder, and he tried to blow himself up twice now. They find out that Sylvia is in Marseille. Meanwhile, the Romefeller Foundation is having a meeting. Everything that is happening within Oz is all according to their plan. Noin and Relina are taking part in this meeting. Noin tries to convince Relina of the need for Oz's power and why they must rule, but Relina is reminded of hero sacrifices. Trace Kujanada gives a speech about becoming better than gods. Relina takes the mic and let the Romefeller Foundation members know that the Gundam is coming for all of them. After Noin gets a hold of her and they head out, the people are concerned that Trace is giving Zex too much power and that they don't want him to use the broken Gundam and to destroy it. Trace says he will make this happen. Noin informs Zex of the situation. It seems Zex is going to keep his relationship to Relina a secret for now. Trace says that God is imaginary and pours one out to the homies. Sylvia is sad about losing her grandfather and doesn't want to leave, but the city is under attack. Ares goes in and attacks Leos. While this is happening, Troa knocks out a pilot and uses his communication system to figure out what's going on. Troa goes out in the heavy arms while Hito almost runs over Sylvia. The Ares destroys all the Leos. All that is left is... It's a Gundam! That's what I was gonna say. The heavy arms wipes out 5 Ares with ease. Afterwards, Hito and Sylvia go to visit Noventa's grave. He gives her a gun and tells her that he was the one that killed Noventa and that she should take her revenge, but she calls him a coward. He leaves to go visit her grandmother for further redemption. So dramatic. At Lake Victoria, Zex has Unit 1 destroyed, but an inspector wants to ensure that everything has been completely destroyed. It seems that this man is trying to catch Zex in an act of insubordination. And of course, Zex, in fact, did not destroy the Gundam, and it is hidden at the bottom of the lake. Hito eventually meets up with all the people that he was trying to make amends for. Troa wonders if he is satisfied. Troa finds it odd to put his life in his victim's family's hands. It is very Shakespearean of an option, that's for sure. Someone is tailing them. Troa tries to chase them off. They eventually meet in the hangar, where the Heavy Arms is located. Troa and Hito meet with Noin. It seems that Zex wants to fight once again with Hito. Specifically, Zex wants the chance to kill Hito. Relina shows up at Lake Victoria base demanding to know where Zex and Hito Yui are. She wants to contact the granddaughter of Noventa. Zex is trying to make Gundam Wing functional before Hito Yui arrives. He wants to make the final modifications to the 01 unit. Trace questions why he gives Zex so much power within Oz. He then comes to the conclusion that Zex wouldn't betray him. That night, Hito works on Heavy Arms for Troa so he can rest. Relina researches information regarding Sylvia Noventa and finds out that Hito is still alive. Relina learns of the mistakes that Hito made in regards to the Noventa family. Relina heads to Sicily to meet with Noventa. Everyone gets nice winter coats. They are heading to the South Pole. Hito is struggling with his injury. There is nothing that they could do to fix the 01's arm, and Zex wants to use parts of the Tallgeese to fix the Gundam. Noin's carrier is being attacked. She goes out to try to protect the ship. Her mission is to get Hito to the Gundam, and she will make sure that that will happen. Backup Leos come in and overwhelm Noin's Ares. The shuttle turns around and heads back for Noin. They are surrounded. Noin surrenders, but they aren't into taking prisoners currently. The shuttle comes in and attacks the Leos. Troa calls the shuttle pilot weak and launches in his Heavy Arms. He starts taking out mobile suits with ease. His long-range weapons runs out and he starts doing melee damage. Troa does that move from the Mobile Suit Gundam Endless Waltz fighter game on the SNES and then wonders why he has to continue killing. Colonel Zex finally meets with Hito and Troa. Zex recognizes that Hito is named after the former colony leader who was assassinated and wonders if that is his real name. Hito responds by asking whether Zex is his real name. They go on to see the Gundam that is more or less restored. Hito plans on thanking Zex by ensuring that he kills him. Am I supposed to be captivated by this scene or be turned on? I think the mystery is what makes this nonsense captivating sometimes. Hito shakes Zex's hand. He mentions that this is his first handshake ever. Relina is still chasing Hito. Noin is informed of her movement. Zex notices that the Gundam pilots are desperate and lives the life of a true soldier. Zex finds himself weak amongst the Gundam pilots. Oh my god, someone fight or someone fuck already. Come on, let's go. Meanwhile, Noin thinks that Zex is doing all of this to protect Relina. Hito decides to use Troa's Heavy Arms for his rematch with Zex. Zex wants the rematch to be true to his battle that they had in Siberia. The battle begins. Hito uses snow clouds to cover his heat source. 3 hours have passed since the battle has started. Troa is bored and finds this meaningless. I'm right there with you, Troa. I want to go edit some Universal Century videos, but sometimes we all waste time, right, Troa? Hito detaches the Gatling gun. He is out of ammo. He wields his beam saber against the Tallgeese. As Relina travels to the Barclay base towards Hito, Ares mobile suits surround her shuttle and tell them to land. They ignore their orders. As they try to shoot her down, Unit 01 comes to help her. It is Troa in the Wing Gundam. He tells Relina that Hito is fighting right over there.
Don't tell her that, Troa. She's just gonna run in and do something dumb.
Zex and Hito continue fighting. Hito's arm is significantly damaged and he is struggling. Relina comes in and realizes the sexual tension in this situation. She goes to Noin and says, "Hey, you, are you looking at this? This isn't a fight." She denounces everything that Zex is doing with Hito currently. That is when Noin comes in and tells Relina that he is her brother and that she must allow Hito and Zex to have sex for the sake of the Sank Kingdom. What? Relina understands the situation and tells Noin to take care of her brother. Alliance troops comes in to take everyone out. Zex decides to protect everyone while they get away. Everyone escapes while Zex does some damage. Leos are fighting the new Taurus mobile suits within Colony Area D and failing. The Oz 12S MS Taurus is Oz's mass-produced mobile suit designed to replace the Leo space type. We will later see this unit used by the Sank Kingdom as well. What is more important about this mobile suit is that it was the first to utilize the mobile doll system. This is a remote AI system that controls the mobile suit. The problem, as we saw with Zex using the Tallgeese, is that humans can only handle so many Gs to the face. With the mobile doll unit, this is no longer a problem. It is equipped with a beam rifle, a beam cannon, a laser gun, and a beam saber. One of the pilots of the Taurus is Nicole. In command of this unit is Lady Un, but she looks different. She now has her hair down and her glasses off. She begins taking control of Earth Alliance colonies. They are essentially doing what they did on Earth and now directing it towards the colonies. Lady Un talks to a young leader who is thirsty to side with Oz. One thing he notes is that they are the third generation of humans living on the colonies. Nonetheless, it seems that Oz has people on their side. Quattro and Duo are watching the news of Oz taking over the colonies. He says that it is time to return to space. They make a plan to try to get back into space without being noticed, but it doesn't seem like this is going to be possible, so they send out a call to the other Gundam pilots to meet up in space. If you are going to be noticed, might as well have the whole boy band together. The colony leaders are trying to make a decision about what to do with Oz. The young leader that was eating out of the hands of Lady Un encourages the rest to side with her. The older leaders are very concerned by this action. Meanwhile, Oz finds an engineer around the Gundam manufacturing plant. This is Professor G. He is the creator of the Death Scythe Gundam. Lady Un goes to interrogate him. Professor G tells her that he only created the one Gundam and has nothing to do with the others. Lady Un gets a message that the Gundam pilots are overtaking a base and trying to make their way back into space. Duo and Quattro are the ones trying to overtake the base, but there is an overwhelming amount of forces. They are pushing so hard at this base so they can get onto the news and so that it will inform the other Gundam pilots. In space, Lady Un and Nicole find and capture another Gundam designer. This time, they find Dr. J. The news begins picking up their battle, but suddenly, the young colony leader announces to the world that they do not represent the colonies and that they are their enemies. There are too many Oz forces on the base. Suddenly, Shenlong comes in and helps out Duo and Quattro. He tells the two that his message was heard. Troa and Hito are fighting as well. They are not on the same base, but they know what they have to do now. They all fight and plan to head to space. Duo goes and heads towards the HLV units. HLV stands for Heavy Lift Vehicle and dumps heavy things out into Earth orbit. Wu Fei and Duo take off, but Duo is mad at Quattro for being a hero. Quattro begins his self-destruct sequence and bails from the Sandrock Gundam. The Gundam explodes. Somewhere else, Hiro uses a mass driver system to bail from a random Oz base. Lady Un takes Dr. J to a holding cell when he meets the other Gundam creators. They greet and congratulate each other for being able to complete their own Gundams. It seems to have been 15 years since they have last met one another. Lady Un notices that the Gundam pilots are making their way to space, and the red alert goes up at the base. Dr. J says that they will regret keeping them alive. After interrogations, Lady Un finds that the 5 men were the ones that created the Tall Geese unit that Zex currently pilots. Once the blueprints for the Tall Geese mobile suit were created, all 5 men mysteriously vanished. Lady Un wants to force them to make Oz a new mobile suit that is stronger than the Tall Geese and, more importantly, stronger than the Gundams. Last episode, the Romefeller Foundation was suspicious of Oz having the Gundam. Zex pretended to blow it up, but it seems that wasn't the case. Oz arrests Zex. Trace asks him why, and Zex tells him that he is fighting the Gundams for selfish reasons and no longer believes in the Romefeller Foundation. Oz will be sending in troops to kill Zex. It seems Trace is testing him again, and he's over it. Chief Engineer Tuberoff is testing out the mobile doll system. This is a Leo being remotely piloted. Suddenly, Trace and a Leo comes in and destroys the mobile dolls. He tells Oz soldiers helping Tuberoff to assassinate him, but quickly rescinds those orders to give him a scare. Trace reminds Tuberoff that war isn't just about superiority and to value human life more. Trace hopes that Zex returns to the battlefield because if not, more people like Tuberoff will start running Oz. A shuttle is spotted by Alliance soldiers. They believe it is a Gundam pilot. They wonder if they should have them help fight against Oz or to give him to Oz in exchange for their safety. They decide to help the pilot, but Oz intercepts the transmission. Lady Un tells the engineers to build a mobile suit, but gives her a lesson on war instead. She finds out of the Alliance and the mobile suit pilot and tells Nicole to wipe them all out. Oz Leos takes on the Alliance Leos. On the shuttle is Quattro, but he doesn't have his Gundam, so Lady Un tells her men to shoot it down. Dr. J gives in and says that they will build them a mobile suit if they don't shoot down the shuttle. She agrees. The Alliance picks up Quattro and realizes he is just a kid. Lady Un lies to the engineers and tells Nicole to take out the shuttle anyways. They take out the shuttle, but only kill the Alliance member. Kacho was randomly put inside a damaged Leo drifting out into space. Back on Earth, Zex prepares for Trace's attack and destroys all the forces. Trace becomes Hamlet and says that now that his mask is broken, he can no longer be friends. In space, Hiro is at another school assuming another identity. His teacher tells him to introduce himself and uses that as an opportunity to talk about his manifesto. Zex wakes up after being passed out on a beach. He wakes in the hands of Howard. Howard was a former Tall Geese engineer, but wasn't one of the 5 to go on to make the Gundams. Meanwhile, Lady Une becomes the new commander of the Space Force and begins forming relations with representatives from the colonies, similar to how she influenced the young leader earlier. The whole Lady Une throwing her hair down, taking off her glasses cliche was such a huge thing throughout the 90s, I'm sure it'll work this time. An Oz soldier comes in and tells her to return to the Bulge, or Barge. These orders are directly from Trace. This sentence changes her entire demeanor back to the cold, cynical, and worst of all, glasses-wearing Lady Une that we remember. They find an HLV and think that it may contain a Gundam. Oz goes to pick up the HLV capsule. Duo, in the Death Scythe, slices out of the HLV and begins attacking the Tauruses. They are faster than he thought. The Duo takes out Death Scythe's arm. Duo takes a page out of Hiro's book and tries to blow himself up, but it doesn't work. The Tauruses take Duo as a prisoner. Troa is watching Duo being arrested on the news. Troa realizes that he is too far away to save Duo, but Hiro is closer, and that he will most likely act. Hiro, of course, sees this on the news as well. They intend to execute him in the morning. Hiro comes into his cell. He actually intends to kill him. They have a dramatic moment before Hiro decides to save him, and they begin to make their escape. Hiro didn't bring his Gundam in space because he didn't want to stand out. While this is happening, Wu Fei in Shinlong goes in to attack the Bulge. Oz sends Taurus mobile suits, and Alliance sends out Leos to attack the Gundam. A shuttle is leaving the Bulge. It is glasses off Lady Une. She preaches peace to Wu Fei. Huh? Duo and Hiro make their way to the hangar and escape in a pod, but before doing so, he is able to get the mobile suit dolls to shoot the Oz soldiers. On Earth, Zex makes his way into space in the Tall Geese. There is a large amount of Gundanium alloy being brought into lunar base, and he plans on going in to attack. Duo gets some rest while he plans his mission. On the lunar base, the Gundam engineers are creating 2 new mobile suits, the Mercurius and the Vi-8. The Oz-13 MS-X2 Mercurius, like the Vi-8 at its core, is built with the Taurus at its starting point. When 5 engineers are in a room trying to solve a problem, you tend to get different solutions. So when tasked to create the perfect mobile suit, they agreed that this could not be done in one and designed 2 different mobile suits with 2 different purposes. The Mercurius is its defensive unit. Its main armaments is the Planet Defensor, which are small bits that use an electrostatic field to create a shield. It also has the Crash Shield, which integrates with a beam saber, creating a powerful weapon and shield. The Oz-13 MSX-1 Vi-8 is the offensive twin to the Mercurius. The beam cannon's destructive power exceeds that of the Wing's Buster rifle, and it also does not have the 3-shot limit that Unit 1 has. This is because the beam cannon is powered by a beam generator mounted on the mobile suit's backpack, providing the weapon with virtually limitless ammunition charge. It has the ability to melt through Gundanium alloy. The one thing that can stop it is the Mercurius's shield. Meanwhile, Lady Une without glasses goes and talks to colony leaders about establishing themselves as a nation. They say that they wouldn't know where to produce the manpower to protect themselves as a nation. On Earth, former Alliance member and now freedom fighter Sally Poe finds the Sandrock Gundam at an Oz base. While trying to blow up the Gundam, the Magwana Corps is also breaking in and trying to take the Gundam back. Sally tries to blow it up but fails. The Magwana Corps handles business and grabs the Gundam. They get into a shuttle and begin to take off. Sally tries to stop them again, but they don't seem to be enemies, and she allows them to take the Gundam. Oz is testing a bunch of new citizen soldiers out in space. One of these soldiers is exceptionally good. It happens to be Troa Barton. Lady Une with glasses makes him destroy the captured Death Scythe Gundam as a second test. He says he's going to need a bigger gun and fires on the unit. Duo watches this go down on the news and does a Star Wars. Lady Un, without glasses, talks to Troa. He tells Lady Un that he really enjoys their subtle ways of taking over colonies. He sees right through Oz's plan. This causes her to freak out. Later, the engineers show off the new mobile suits to Troa and Lady Un. While this is happening, someone pilots the half-built V8. It attacks the engineers, but the shield from the Mercurius protects them. It was Hiro who was in the V8. Troa goes in and captures Hiro. Catra is floating in a Leo. He is still alive and is found by civilians. He wakes up to find that he is on a satellite mining natural resources. Catra, thanks her for saving his life. Troa informs Lady Un that the Mercurius and V8 are finally complete. She commands him to take out the tall geese with the new mobile suits. He plans on having Hiro pilot the Mercurius. They want a Gundam pilot to operate the new mobile suit. Lady Un says that Troa can detonate the Mercurius from the V8 if Hiro decides to run. The two head out with a team of mobile dolls. Hiro takes out a few mobile dolls and suggests that they don't need them. They spot the target and send the remaining dolls in first. They attack the tall geese. As Zex destroys the dolls, the Mercurius and V8 attack. They surround Zek's mobile suit. He gets out and tells them that he is a Goodwill ambassador and introduces himself as Miliardo Peacecraft. Many of the people in space are working class people compared to those living on Earth. Catra's father, Saeed Winter, and head of the Winter family, is trying to maintain peace between the colony and the people of Earth. Catra heads back to his home colony to meet with his father. He scolds Catra for piloting the Gundam. Catra tells his sister Iria that he had to destroy his Gundam while back on Earth. He must create a new one. Catra's father attends a colony meeting. They all want to collaborate with Oz except for Winter. They want him to hand over his rights, but he doesn't want them to make weapons and murder. He has been the one funding this colony. Of course, Oz gains control of the satellite, but Saeed Winter goes and disconnects the satellite from the colony. He monologues to Catra and his sister instead of saving his life. Oz fires on the satellite, killing Saeed Winter. Catra's shuttle barely makes it out of the blast. His sister is very injured. He swears his revenge for the death of his father and makes this noise. Meanwhile, Zex makes his way towards the barge. Miliardo docks. He gets out with his fancy white suit and meets with the nice personality of Lady Un. He asks if he could act on his own accord, and Lady Un allows it. One Oz soldier, Nicole, is overhearing the conversation and recognizes him as Zex Marquis, Space Colony D-120, where the command states of the Earthsphere Alliance has been located. This colony represents Earth's voice in space. General Septim's son, Gwinter Septim, is informed of Zek's visit to space. General Septim was shot and killed by Lady Un. Meanwhile, Trace is meeting with Duke Dermail about building alliances with the space colonies. Oz is slowly winning over the colonies, but there are still some holdouts. He is informed that Lady Un is upping production of the mobile dolls. Later, Trace talks to Lady Un and wants to know how she intends to use the mobile dolls. She of course says with his soldiers. He tells her that she is simply playing out her own will, even though she claims she is doing it for Trace. The Duke is talking to Nicole, the soldier that recognized Zex. The Duke wants Oz to take out the Alliance Space Force. Unlike Lady Un, Nicole is willing to make that happen. Miliardo meets with Gwinter and his grandfather. They tell him that they stayed in space to maintain the security of the people of the colony. Without them, they would lose morale. Suddenly, Oz attacks. Lady Un is unhappy that Trace isn't coming to space and wants to leave, but the soldier Nicole convinces her to go out and battle. While she is out, he intends to take over the barge. Troa figures out what he is doing, but he has Oz soldiers arrest him. The mobile dolls are taking out the colony Leos. The tall geese helps out. Gwinter and his grandfather have evacuated the colony. He says this will be the first colony to be destroyed because man brought its military into space. The barge comes. It plans on destroying the colony. Suddenly, Zex gets a message from Trace. He tells Zex to save Lady Un. He rushes and grabs her mobile suit and flees the battlefield. Nicole, on the barge, fires the beam cannons, but Troa moves the satellite, causing the beam to miss the colony. Lady Un changes back to her mean personality. She returns to the barge and has Nicole arrested. Meanwhile, the Romefeller Foundation has built a facility on the moon to increase production of the mobile dolls. Wu Fei's Shenlong Gundam is badly injured and he has no ammo, but he goes to attack the base. Leos come from the moon and wreak havoc on the Gundam. They bring in Wu Fei and what's left of his Gundam. Sally Po is in a sub and discovers the Wing Gundam underwater. Her team goes out when Oz soldiers attacks them. The Gundam scientists receive the remains of Shinlong Gundam. They pretend to throw out the Gundam, but they intend to restore it. Milliardo is meeting with colony leaders. They tell them that Oz will protect them from the colonies, which is why they align themselves with Oz. On the moon colony, Hilda, a member of Oz, tells him to sign up for the military. He's totally into it. He goes to the spaceport to steal a Leo, but is noticed by Hilda. He quickly gets in and escapes as Hilda chases after him. The two fight in space. A shuttle comes in and uses its Vulcans on Duo. She captures Duo and finds out that he is a Gundam pilot. He wonders why the colonists are fighting for Oz. Hilda thinks that she is also fighting for the colonies. Duo wonders when Oz took over and the people stopped caring. They intend to take him to the lunar colony, which is great for Duo as he plans on destroying the base anyways. As she heads to the bridge, the shuttle is attacked from within. It happens to be Duo trying to escape. He grabs a Leo and blows the hatch. Mobile dolls intercept his Leo. He is being wrecked, but he makes it to the moon. He is very dramatic and tells the machines to kill him. But Hilda comes in and saves him. Oh snap, Duo helped her choose her own path. Duo heads into the lunar colony. He is spotted and is firing on Oz soldiers. He busts into the hangar to find 2 new Gundams and the Gundam engineers. They tell Duo that if he stays alive for 1 month till they finish building the Gundam, he can pilot it. They beat up Duo to pretend like they aren't on his side, and they also don't want them to find the secret Gundam. Oz arrests Duo and throws him in jail with Hito and Wu Fei. Duo lets Wu Fei know both their Gundams are being fixed. Milliardo heads back to Earth after his failed peace talks with the colonies. Lady Un changes back into her nice personality. A colony that is now aligned with Oz notices an unknown craft approaching their location. They can't get in communication with it. Leos go out to intercept the craft. They begin firing on it. They think they destroyed it, but it begins transforming into a mobile suit. It is Wing Gundam Zero. The XXG-00W0 Wing Gundam Zero is the first Gundam designed by the Gundam engineers. After creating their prototype Tallgeese in AC-175, they ran away and began development of a new mobile suit using Gundanium. This became Wing Zero. At the heart of Wing Zero is the Zero system. Zero stands for Zoning and Emotional Range Emitted System. This is an interface system that is designed to bring out the best of the pilot and eliminate human weakness. However, one must have strong mental strength to control it. Its twin Buster rifle is able to destroy a space colony in a single blast. It is twice as powerful as the 01 Buster rifle. It also is equipped with a beam saber, a machine cannon, and a shield with its own Vulcans. It could also transform into Neo Bird mode, and like all mobile suits in this dramatic anime, it has a self-destruct system. This is like the equivalent to every Shakespeare character casually carrying a vial of poison just in case. We dive deeper into Wing Zero and Zero System more as we learn about the Gundam. They attack the Gundam and knock it off balance, but it takes out its beam cannon and fires on the Leos, destroys them and the satellite. The pilot breathes heavily. It is Catra. Romefeller member Tuberov wants the Gundam pilots to be executed. He tells this to Lady Un, but they get a message that a new Gundam has destroyed one of their satellites. She sends out Vait and the Mercurius. Tuberov wants to use the mobile dolls and doesn't want to rely on Gundam engineers. Troa goes and tells the engineers data regarding the new Gundam. They wonder if it is Catra. Troa goes to the Gundam pilot cell. He wants Hito to pilot the Mercurius once again and destroy the new Gundam. Troa punches Duo for not shutting up about wanting to pilot the mobile suit. But when he punched him, he actually gave him data on the new mobile suit. For a second, they really thought Troa betrayed them until he gave them this data. Hito thinks that it is Catra, and when they meet up with him, they will be strong enough to take on Oz. However, Troa believes that they may actually have to end up destroying the Gundam, and they may not be able to trust Catra. Colony 06E has evacuated its citizens. Catra tells them that he is going to destroy the colony. Leos guard the colony, and they fire beam cannons towards Wing Zero. It is able to dodge all attacks. They go to attack the Gundam, but Catra is able to tear through the Leos and the colony with ease. He has tears in his eyes, but he is not sad. So dramatic. Troa and Hiro change plans. They realize the colony is destroyed, and he plans on going for another one. They launch in their mobile suits. The two pilots, along with a squad of Oz Leos, goes in and attacks. Meanwhile, Tuberov goes and turns off the air supply of the engineers and the pilots. The engineers notice this instantly, while Duo says this is a lame way to die. Troa and Hiro make it to the colony. Katra comes out of the colony after destroying Leos. Hiro begins attacking. The Leos are just cannon fodder. Trowa tries to reach out to Katra, but he tells him not to get close. He begins attacking the Vaiit. It uses its beam weapons on the Vaiit and vaporizes half of the mobile suit. Katra says that the colonies have gone mad and that he must destroy it all. Trowa is like, yo man, remember the time we jammed out together? But he isn't having any of it. Trowa says that he is going to have to kill Katra. Katra and Hiro begin fighting. Hiro is struggling to hold out against Wing Gundam. Lady Un gets intel regarding the Gundam and sends the data to the Gundam engineers, but the connection to the lunar base has been cut off. The air is still running low on the base. The Gundam engineers are mad that their lives will end this way. Wu Fei and Duo are running out of air as well. Wu Fei is barely breathing, putting his body in a supposed suspended animation. Hiro won't leave. Ketra uses the Buster Rifle on the Mercurius, but Trowa in the Vaiit blocks his attack. His mobile suit is badly injured. Hiro grabs Ketra in Wing and pushes him into the hangar. Ketra fights back, telling him to go save Trowa, but Hiro says that he is the one who killed him. He's fine. He's just drifting out into space. People don't die in this series. A Romefeller meeting is taking place. They want to mass-produce mobile dolls. That is when Trace comes in and says that he can no longer support the path that Romefeller is going down. As Trace gives a speech, we see past events of the past 10 episodes or so. He is confined to the Romefeller Foundation headquarters. The barge moves closer to the lunar base. Taurus mobile dolls approach them, and they prepare for an attack. Lady Un tells Tuberoth that Trace believes in people. Specifically, he believes in death. Death is a motivating factor for war. She is now Tuberoth's enemy. Romefeller begins attacking the barge with the newly created Virgo mobile dolls. The Oz-02MD Virgo is a mass-produced AI or mobile doll-based mobile suit. This mobile suit was overseen by Tuberoth and is a mobile suit exclusive to using mobile dolls. The Virgo uses data collected from both the Vaiit and the Mercurius and uses Gundanium armor. It has a strong firepower but lacks in maneuverability and short-range combat. It is equipped with a beam cannon similar to the Vaiit's beam cannon and a plant defensor similar to the Mercurius's plant defensor. It's the best of both worlds. As she continues the fight, Lady Un goes to release the Gundam pilots. That is when Tuberoth points a gun at her. She says that she fights for Trace and will die for what he fights for. As she pulls the lever, generating oxygen inside the lunar base, Tuberoth shoots Lady Un. What did I just say about people dying? She's fine. Walk it off. Duo and Wu Fei take a breath of air and escape. They get into Gundam Death Scythe Hell and Altron Gundam. The XXXD-01D2 Gundam Death Scythe Hell is the upgraded version of the mobile suit. It still specializes in stealth and close combat. This unit has a cloak that is able to withstand the Virgo's beam cannon. The unit can use the Hyper Jammer, which scrambles the enemy radar. This is great for sneaking up on people. It is also equipped with 2 Vulcan guns, a twin beam scythe because 2 is better than 1, and a buster shield. The XXXG-01S2 Altron Gundam is the upgraded version of Shenlong. Altron is equipped with 2 Dragon Fangs because 2 is better than 1. The beam glaive is replaced with the double-ended twin beam trident. Unlike Shenlong, Altron also works better in space combat. It is equipped with Vulcans, a twin beam cannon, a flamethrower attached to the Dragon Fang, and the Altron shield. Katra goes to save Trowa. The Romefeller Foundation makes their way to Earth carrying Virgo mobile dolls. They are carrying out Operation Nova, which is to take the remaining resistance on Earth, including those loyal to Trace. The Trace faction sends out Ares to fight against the Virgos, but they are no match for the new mobile suit. Many Trace faction members have begun popping up, fighting against the Romefeller Foundation, as they all fight against the idea of using mobile dolls. Tuberoth is increasing production of mobile dolls to handle things on Earth. Back in space, Hiro and Katra are captured along with their mobile suits. Katra cries thinking that he killed Trowa, while Hiro gets the butt of a gun to his head. That is when the Trace faction takes over their lunar base. While Tuberoth's men are testing the Gundam, they realize that it utilizes the pilot's brainwaves to help pilot the mobile suit. However, Tuberoth simply wants the Gundams destroyed. Hiro meets up with the Gundam engineers during the chaos. They have been hiding out at lunar base since Lady Un disappeared. There isn't a lot of information regarding the Gundam engineer Dr. S, but how do you think he lost his nose? Or was he born like that? I like to think it was an experiment gone wrong. Maybe a little too much cocaine? Is it a futuristic space cocaine? I want to try space cocaine. The engineers tell Katra and Hiro that they need to be perfect pilots if they want to defeat the mobile dolls, and currently they are acting like emotional children. Katra is confused by who the enemy currently is. Hiro responds by saying whoever is trying to kill you. The Rumfeller Foundation surrounds the lunar base. They communicate with the engineers and tell them to surrender the Gundam pilots. It seems that they have no choice but to give in to their demands. Catra thinks the Wing Gundam is a mistake. The Rumfeller Foundation tests the Zero system on Hiro. During this, Hiro takes control of Wing Gundam. Catra realizes that it was the Zero system that caused him to go crazy and attack the colonies. Catra gets in the Vi-8 and tries to stop Hiro. He threatens to self-destruct both of them. An explosion in every episode. Catra tells them that they don't have to fight one another, and they aren't needed in space. Hiro is able to snap out of this. He gets out of the Gundam and falls head first. Yeah, he's dead. End of show. We're done here. I guess we shouldn't be surprised after Hiro survived that base jump with only just a broken shoulder. Also, how's your shoulder, buddy? Oh, right, you fell on your head. Hiro looks up at the Vi-8 and sees Relina's face. Catra grabs Hiro's limp body and tells him that they need to head to Earth. Catra self-destructs the Vi-8. The two steal a shuttle and head back to Earth. Meanwhile, Dr. J says what I am thinking after every episode of Wing.
We ended up surviving again, and so did this guy.
The engineers are able to find the remains of Wing Gundam. Relina wonders about Hiro. Oh no, it's a recap episode. Skip. Trace wanders around Romefeller land while he ponders the events of the show. Oh no, it's another recap episode. 2 in a row? Skip. But don't skip the entire episode. Go to the last minute. Here we will see that Catra and Hiro have made it back to Earth. Trace says that every piece of the puzzle is being put into place. Beside him is Lady Un. She is alive, but she is also in her quiet, calm personality. Trace looks at a screen that shows the new mobile suit, Epion. We will get to this soon. Relina Peacecraft is on Earth talking to the leaders of various countries and urging peace. The leaders seem to agree with her. Virgo mobile suits are outside. They realize that they aren't really needed here. Meanwhile, Hiro plays with a dog. Oh snap, Hiro is doing something that is human. He isn't just a mindless robot. Look at that.
Then play with the dogs.
A random Romefeller soldier feeds Hiro and Catra. It seems his nation doesn't really believe in the Romefeller Foundation, but had no choice but to allow their occupation. Meanwhile, Sally Poe is being chased by Oz. She heads underwater to escape pursuit, but is captured regardless. Tailing Oz and Sally is Noin.
You're only treating me like a special guest until you confirm what's in the carrier, I suppose.
Whoa, you just straight up changed the English voice actor and let her do whatever she wanted, huh?
Kid had the disc hidden on him.
Not that Sally is really anything more than a background character, but still, that voice change caught me off guard. Noin comes busting into the base to help free Sally Poe. It appears that Sally was transporting Wing Gundam. Noin frees her, and the two escape. Cancers launch and head towards Sally Poe's carrier underwater. Sally Poe asks Noin if they truly intend to fight the Romefeller Foundation with just Gundams. Sally says that she wanted to follow in the footsteps of the Gundam pilots, as they are considered modern heroes. Hiro says that the commander of his nation has a weak point, and it is his kindness. 2 Gundam pilots are walking targets and are going to get his nation killed. They decide to take off. They leave a note for the commander.
I feel sorry for them.
This line read is read so earnestly that I think the English voice cast was trying to make a meta joke about this commander's kindness. The 2 Gundam pilots go to attack the ship. Quick, Hiro, duck and roll. Also, how's that shoulder? Underwater, the Cancers are pulling up Wing Gundam. Sally Poe and her team of Pisces go in to attack. Hiro steals a Leo on board the ship and begin destroying the surrounding ships. They take over the ship and force the Romefeller soldiers to escape on lifeboats. Catra wonders what they should do next, but Hiro says that it is obvious. They have to continue to fight. It seems Catra is still in denial about what he has to do. Sally Poe thanks Noin for all the help. They are both glad that there are still people willing to oppose the Romefeller Foundation. A car stops on a hill. Out of the car comes Dorothy Catalonia. She is the granddaughter of Duke Dermel. She is here to throw a wrench in Relina's plan for the Sank Kingdom establishing peace on Earth. Relina and Dorothy meet. She comes on behalf of the Romefeller Foundation and wants to learn more about the policies of the Sank Kingdom. She says that war is very much at the core of the Romefeller Foundation, but Relina wants to allow peace discussions to take place in her nation. Relina's butler Pagan informs Noin that he wasn't able to find anything nefarious about Dorothy, but he still has a bad feeling. Noin says that she will live in the shadows of the Sank Kingdom and protect everyone if necessary. Alright, calm down, Batman. Dorothy looks out to the mobile suits in the sky and says, hurry up and start a war. Oz units are on standby when mobile suits come in attacking. It is Hiro. We flash back before the battle to Hiro and Catra arguing about fighting. It seems that this is an internal conflict within Oz, and Catra doesn't want to get involved. but Hiro wants Oz to know that he is still alive. Show off. Hiro goes out to fight with Catra. He decides to head to a nearby city. Within the city, Oz members are harassing some of the citizens. They are former Oz members that once defended this area, but now have become occupiers. The mayor informs Oz that they are pacifists, but they help the city to do their dirty work and know that this is all bullshit. Catra helps the citizens who was abused by the Trace faction when Ares comes in and begin their attack on the city. The fight between Oz and the Trace faction begins. When Hiro said he wanted to help fight, he wasn't joking. Look, he's joining in the briefings and everything. I think the charm of this show is starting to wear off and get a little too ridiculous. Hiro is out fighting in Aaliyah when he helps save some citizens. There have been too many casualties, and Hiro deems his mission a failure and tells everyone to retreat. Berlina is giving a class about pacifism. Dorothy is a part of this group. She subtly thinks that Relina is somewhat naive on her notion about pacifism. Dorothy believes that fighting satisfies a need in human nature. She believes that fighting is what it means to be human. Relina doesn't believe in her views. She says that she will promote pacifism even at the expense of her own life. Dorothy looks on as Relina... I can't with these eyebrows. They're so distracting, man. A series of Virgo mobile dolls enter into the city. Catra realizes that the people are fed up with all of this and decides to join the Sank Kingdom. Catra notes that the citizens are more relaxed than the soldiers now that they decided to head to the Sank Kingdom. Raylina's butler, Pagan, once again tries to tell Raylina to be careful about Dorothy. She says that he and Noin know of the location of Hiro Yui. She is excited that he has returned to the Earth sphere. Hiro continues fighting when the new Virgos come in and begin their attack. The old Leos struggle against these new mobile dolls. Hiro's right arm is taken out. His mobile suit is getting destroyed. Catra is starting to realize that the Romefeller Foundation's desire to keep the Sank Kingdom down is because they actually have a chance to find peace in this world. He steals an Ares mobile suit and heads to the Sank Kingdom himself. Hiro says some insufferable hipster stuff as he begins dying once again. But that is when Catra comes in to help him. He tells Hiro that they should go to the Sank Kingdom. That is when Noin comes in and drops off a package to the two. It is the beam Gatling gun from Wing Gundam. Catra picks up the gun and begins blasting the Virgos. Catra and Hiro escape with Noin. Back at the Sank Kingdom, Hiro lands as Relina awaits his arrival. Catra wants to stay in the Sank Kingdom, but Hiro just wants to grab his Gundam and leave as soon as possible. He lets Relina know of this as well. She ignores him and tells them about Trell Barton. She wants him to at least stay until they find Trella. Hiro and Catra stay in disguise as male students. When he introduces himself to the public, it reminds him of Dr. J giving his codename, Hiro Yui. Dorothy challenges Hiro to a fencing duel. During the duel, she mentions that there are only 2 people with that name, and one is a murderer. Hiro allows her to win, but she can see that he isn't trying. She taunts him, but Hiro goes in for the attack and cracks her fencing helmet. He walks away and says there must be another person with that name. Dorothy, in her eyebrows, knows he is hiding his identity and welcomes him to the Sank Kingdom. Oh my god, talk to people in front of their faces. Stop being dramatic when they turn their backs. Noin informs Relina of the Trace faction making their way to the Sank Kingdom. The Romefeller Foundation is also trying to attack the Sank Kingdom as well. Relina decides to allow the Trace faction to stay as refugees. The new refugees are gravely injured, but they realize that they led the Romefeller Foundation directly to the Sank Kingdom. Noin contacts the refugees and informs them of the Romefeller Foundation heading towards the nation for an attack. They don't want to stay and cause any trouble. They decide to terminate communication and lead them out of the area. Noin realizes that this small group of Trace soldiers are about to sacrifice their lives.
Their lives have to be sacrificed. Forgive us.
Now that's acting. Hiro finds Wing Gundam, which happens to be located next to Noin's mobile suit. Relina contacts the Romefeller Foundation squad and tells them that they must not attack the new refugees, but they don't believe her and end communication. They also decide to target the city center. Yeah, that will teach those pacifists. Noin tells Catra about the Taurus mobile suits that are underground. They are there without Relina knowing about them, even though they are the Sank Kingdom white color. Hiro has already taken out his Wing Gundam. Catra suggests that they take out the Taurus to help save the city. Hiro just walks up to the Trace faction and says, "Hey guys, follow me." The commander goes with it because he thinks that the kid is a Gundam pilot. People just go with things in this series. It's kind of wild. There's probably a lot of missing children in the After Colony universe. Dorothy gets Relina out of the city center. While doing so, she talks about how battles and murder turn her on. The White Tauruses are fighting with Romefeller when a shuttle comes towards their location. Romefeller shoots it down, but out of the explosion is...
Gundam!
That's what I was gonna say. It's a Gundam. You ruined it. I really hope someone shoots this guy down. Thanks, Hiro. The shuttle heads down as Relina and Dorothy watch it fall into the water. Virgo stop Dorothy's car, but Hiro and the Tauruses come to the rescue. Noin accepts responsibility for lying about having mobile suits in the Saint Kingdom. Hiro suggests that they don't have enough and must grow bigger. He suggests that they build defenses to buy them some time needed to spread their pacifism. He says that he paid her back and he takes his leave. Hiro says that Gundams are meant for battle and have no place here in the Saint Kingdom. Relina finally understands that totally blind pacifism is impossible. A group of Leos are escorting a shuttle of Virgo mobile dolls. Suddenly, out of the darkness, comes Duo and Death Scythe Hell. He tears through the Leos and takes the shuttle supplies. Operation Nova is starting to run into problems. On the moon, Tuberov is informed of the missing Virgo transport vessels. This isn't the first one to go missing. He informs him of Lieutenant Trant, who has gone out on recon. Lieutenant Trant has taken out Wing Zero. Remember, before leaving for Earth, Hiro fell into the hands of Tuberov, and his men took over and tested the Zero system. Trant is overwhelmed by its power against the mobile dolls. He tears through them, but he seems to be struggling with the Zero system. He struggles to move his arms and begins getting attacked. He is surrounded, and the Virgos destroy Wing Zero. However, that was a vision. Trant wonders if the Gundam pilots also felt this way while piloting the Gundam. He gets a message from Tuberov and ignores it. Tuberov believes that Trant may be going AWOL, so he contacts the barge to send a team to find him. Meanwhile, Duo heads to the colony where Hilda is. He first gets supplies from a man in the colony, but the man doesn't take Duo's payment. Hilda comes over to help out. She is anxious to help out in any way. While talking, they notice a mobile suit.
It's a Gundam.
Sorry, Gundam. It is Trant. He demands that Duo comes with him. Trant points the Twin Buster rifle at them. He says he can destroy a colony with that weapon, but Trant doesn't seem to care what happens to the colony. He is serious. Duo gets in Wing Zero. If he tries to escape, he will get the mobile dolls to destroy the colony. For now, he has to test the Gundam by fighting against the mobile dolls. While fighting, he sees visions of Death Scythe Hell. He begins firing on the mobile dolls, and he attacks the colony. He takes out the mobile dolls in the colony and wonders what he just did. But it isn't real. Within the cockpit, one can truly do anything. Tuberov's men suddenly come in to take out Trant. He kicks Duo out of the Gundam and goes to fight the Leos. Hilda comes in to pick up Duo. He tries to warn Trant, but he is consumed by the Zero system. On the shuttle is Duo's Death Scythe Hell. He launches and fights with Trant. Trant believes he could control the system, but the two go in for an attack. It is too much for Trant, and he is killed in action. Duo believes that no one should use that system, and if someone were able to control it, they would be superior to all of humanity. Not only can Ketra fondle a violin, but he could also finger himself some ivory. He believes that the Gundams are the only thing that can take on the powers that be currently, and feels bad with what happened with Troa. All of this is starting to make Ketra realize that people tainted by war should not be in the Saint Kingdom, and that Hiro probably felt this way as well. They wonder where the Trace faction is. Ketra thinks that they have a decent chance to stand against the mobile dolls. Operation Nova is in full effect. Oz sent out Virgo mobile dolls to nations with dissenting governments. It is going as planned, and they are increasing production of mobile dolls as a result. More Virgo mobile dolls are being transported when suddenly the Tall Geese comes in attacking. It takes out all but one transport. They send out mobile dolls to retaliate, but he takes out the mobile dolls no problem, followed by the remaining transport vessel. Out of the shadows comes the Peacemillion. The Peacemillion is a battleship that was created by Professor G and Mike Howard, who also created the Tall Geese. We will learn that it was developed in AC-192 and had been in hiding until Operation Meteor was in full effect. In order to avoid detection, Professor G installed a stealth mechanism on this ship. It also has a bunch of beam cannons on the bow of the ship. There isn't too much information about this ship, but I just love a weapon of war named something with peace in the name. It would be like the US calling a nuke the Freedom Maker. This ship will take on many roles, but for now, it is Zek's base of operation. Mike Howard tells Zex to head back on board the ship so he could tune up the Tall Geese. His reaction time is too quick for the mobile suit. His skills have surpassed the Tall Geese. He cries over it, go figure. Meanwhile, Tuberov thinks that it may be time to destroy the Sen Kingdom after hearing about Zek's interference. Raylina wonders why Hiro is still in the Sen Kingdom even though he said he would leave. I love you, but why don't you leave? This bitch is crazy. Dorothy comes over and gives Raylina an invitation from the Rockefeller Foundation to meet. She heads out with Dorothy, escorting her. Noin is a little concerned. She makes Hiro promise that he won't leave without telling her first. That's the most reaction I think I've seen out of Hiro. Ketra thinks he should go with her. They head underground to find out that there are mobile dolls being dispersed at Luxembourg. He decides to head out. Ketra wants to join him, but Hiro says that he can't die just yet. Ketra still has a mission to find Troa. Hiro heads out. Zex once fought at Luxembourg to take over the base. Now he heads there to help defend the base against Tuberov. Raylina meets with Duke Dermel and the leaders of the Rockefeller Foundation. She believes that the Sen Kingdom can be used as a role model for other nations to follow in peace. But the Duke says that he can't help but notice the hypocrisies. They tell Raylina about the actions of Miliardo Peacecraft, who was fighting against Oz, which is a direct attack against Rockefeller. Raylina wonders what name the soldier goes by. They say that he goes by Zex. She says to the Duke if that is the case, that isn't her brother. Her brother wouldn't do this to the Sen Kingdom, so they could do whatever they want to the traitor. The Duke wasn't ready for this response and apologizes to Raylina. Raylina is starting to understand what Zex is trying to accomplish. Dorothy was secretly watching the meeting. Zex is at his limit. He did all he could from space. It is up to Luxembourg to handle the rest. Meanwhile, Unit 1 makes it to Luxembourg. As Raylina makes her leave, she is attacked by mobile dolls. Her car crashes and badly injures her butler Pagan. No, Pagan! That is when Noin and Katra come in to save Raylina and White Tauruses. What happened to Hiro? Well, he was surrounded by Virgo mobile dolls as he begins fighting. He is struggling when he gets a message from Trace Kujinata telling him not to give up. Wing falls down again. Get up, Hiro! You don't want to die wearing an ascot! Virgos surround him, but some Trace faction pilots and Leos come in and kamikaze, destroying themselves and the Virgos. Hiro gets out and finds one Trace soldier still alive. He tells Hiro to protect Trace. Duke Dermel is informed that they are losing mobile dolls quickly. He tells the soldiers to go all out on Luxembourg. He wants to make sure Trace and the Gundam pilots don't join up. Hiro's biosignatures are saved as he was granted access to the elevator. He goes down to find Trace waiting for him. He urges Hiro to shoot him. He says it with a smirk on his face. Hiro wants to know why he allowed him in.
I programmed the computer to accept you a few months ago. I thought that one of these...
Man, he is really going off on something about destiny right now. Everyone is all about empty platitudes in this universe. Hey, remember when Captain America told those senators to do better, but he really didn't have anything to say at all? That's like this entire show. Oh, I should probably be paying attention to what they are saying right now.
My greatest happiness in life was being able to talk with you.
Wait, what did I just miss? They point a gun at one another. While Trace is being dramatic, he opens a secret door to reveal Epion. Out in space, Rockefeller is trying to destroy Wing Zero. They set bombs on the mobile suit. Suddenly, Tallgeese comes in and stops them. He takes out the Leos. He monologues for a second before another ship of mobile dolls come in. He begins attacking the Taurus mobile dolls. As Zex says goodbye to the Tallgeese, he cuts through many mobile dolls. He says his farewell and bails out of the mobile suit before self-destructing, taking out the mobile dolls. Zex drifts over to Wing Zero. After getting in the Gundam, Rockefeller detonates the bombs on Wing Zero, but they weren't strong enough to destroy it. Zex starts doing damage with the Gundam. This suit is more responsive than the Tallgeese. Trace tells Hiro to show him his strengths. They both want each other to lose, so they can both die. Ugh, it's exhausting. He gets in the Epion. The Oz-13MS Gundam Epion is a product of Trace while he was confined. This unit uses a modified version of the Zero system similar to Wing Zero, known as the Epion system. It resembles a dragon when in mobile armor mode. Trace believes that long-range weapons is one of cowards, so most of the weapons are short-ranged, with the exception of Vulcans, which are added later. Weapons include a beam sword, the Epion claws, which double as landing gear in mobile armor mode, and the Epion shield, which also equips a heat rod. Chaos ensues at Luxembourg. Trace's troops can't hold off Dermel's men for too much longer. That is when Epion makes its appearance on the battlefield. It moves at great speeds and uses its heat rod to destroy many mobile dolls. Hiro is confused if the Trace faction is friendlies. He realizes this mobile suit is like the Zero system as it begins consuming him. He now sees everyone on the battlefield as his enemy. He begins taking out both the Leos and the mobile dolls. He remembers the promise he made with Raylina and returns turns to Trace. Trace wonders if he saw his future, but Hiro only saw his past. He says he doesn't have the right and passes out. While walking down a road, Troa happens to run into Catherine from the circus. She notices that he is very haggard and helps him out. He has no memory of her. Mobile dolls enter the colony where Wu Fei is located. He is back with his old master, Long. After he spars, he thanks his old master. Now here is something interesting. In the English dub, Master Long emphasizes the importance of integrity.
Even still, we will follow our destiny and see that we live with integrity.
Integrity?
But the Japanese subs translate this to justice. However, listening with my own earballs, he says the word seki.
されど我らは最後まで天命に従い正義を貫くつもりじゃ。
正義。
Seki is one's spirit or vitality. One's ki in shonen anime can also be interpreted as seki. Suddenly, an explosion happens with the colony. The mobile dolls begin their attack. Wu Fei gets an Altron. He prays to Nakata and takes out the mobile dolls. Man tortoises make their way towards the colony. Wu Fei heads out into space. They threaten the destruction of the colony if he fights. Back inside the colony, Master Long and his disciples sacrifice themselves and self-destruct the colony. Turns out Wu Fei was a part of a cult. He calls Wu Fei one last time and tells him not to waver. The colony goes up in flames. How many innocent people just died? A lot! Wu Fei is enraged and begins tearing through the mobile suits. On the Peace Million, Sex thinks that it is time to enlist the help of the Gundam pilots. He heads in the direction of Wu Fei. Duke Dermel contacts Tuberov. He informs him that they have completed Operation Nova and to halt production on mobile dolls and begin building a battleship. This will come into play soon. Noin gives Catra a fighter jet that looks like an F-15 with extra delta fins and takes off. He runs into two Ares mobile suits which shoot him down in the desert. He has to find Sandrock on foot now. Romefeller's forceful actions are starting to make the people of the Sank Kingdom waver on peace. Breelina is going to take action to stop disarmament of the Romefeller Foundation. But how? Do you draft bills? What is your form of government? I'm asking too many questions. Broad strokes, remember. Broad strokes. Oh hey, Pagan is here. Underground, Noin is building a small military presence behind Relina's back, and Hito wants to know why. She shows him Romefeller's next moves. Since the attack on Luxembourg, Romefeller has been making their way towards the edges of the Sank Kingdom. Noin says that they need more people. She intends to take in former members of the Trace faction and the Romefeller Foundation. She says that they can really make a difference with a Gundam on their side, but Hiro isn't really into protecting this nation like Catra is. Wu Fei is still rampaging out in space and takes out all his anger on the mobile dolls. He finds the dolls cowardly. That is when Zex and Wing Zero contacts him. Wu Fei begins attacking Zex. He doesn't want to help Zex unless he is able to defeat him. They begin fighting. Zex loses control and fires near the Peace Million, destroying it, but it isn't destroyed. Zex is hallucinating. The Zero System is taking over. Zex fires again, and this time actually hits the Peace Million. He calms down as Wu Fei makes his leave with Altron Gundam. Troa is back with the circus. He still has amnesia. Catherine thinks that perhaps this is the best way. Duo was talking to a few other men about what they should do about Romefeller. He goes off on his own to meet up with Hildy. He wasn't able to get any information. The Sank Kingdom is on the verge of falling apart. Noin wants to take military action, but Relina says they must handle this through peace and wants to talk to Dertumel herself. Ugh, exhausting. Noin tells this to Hiro, but he thinks that she is too idealistic. That being said, Hiro recognizes that this is what the people need right now. The Magwanac Corps is fighting against Oz when they notice Catra. Catra gets back into Sandrock, and his comrades push back on the Oz forces. Duo and Hildy head to the circus, where Duo notices that the clown is Troa. He asks Troa a question about Hiro, but he doesn't remember anything. Catherine tells him to leave him alone and not make him fight anymore. Yeah, get out of here while this circus gypsy gaslights Troa into pretending to be his girlfriend. Back at the Sank Kingdom, Relina informs Noin that Romefeller plans on attacking their nation for harboring deserters. She takes action against Relina's wishes. Hiro heads out, as well as Epion. He yells at the Epion system to stop messing with his head.
Stop it! Don't go doing that!
Noin and her team begins attacking, but Oz unleashes the Virgo mobile dolls. It is too much for them. They retreat to the defense line. That is when the Magwanac Corps and Catra come in, helping the Sank Kingdom. Dorothy is ominous and asks Relina how she plans on accomplishing her mission of peace if they don't stand up and fight for pacifism. She says that total pacifism isn't possible. You have to fight for peace. Dorothy says that all she has is a dream. Noin is the last line of defense, and they are pushing towards the city. Buildings begin going up in flames. Dorothy connects Relina to the Foundation networks. She makes a speech to everyone saying that she will give herself up as a prisoner in the name of peace. Zex heads to the Sank Kingdom after hearing Relina's open communication. Hiro doesn't stand down and continues his attack on Oz. It seems the Epion system has once again taken control. This commander gets a good solid 30 seconds of screen time before Hiro comes in and kills him and his fleet. I don't know why, but I found this odd. This random guy got so much screen time knowing that Hiro was going to come in and kill him. Hiro notices Wing Zero, fully consumed by the Epion system. He fights Zex. He realizes that it is too late and the Sank Kingdom is already destroyed.
Isn't it all pointless?
That's like this whole anime, Zex. I'm used to it at this point and just kind of go with it. Zex is also consumed by the Zero system. The two pilots have both lost control. Duke Dermail tries to convince Relina to be the representative of peace for the Romefeller Foundation, as the people have seemed to rally around her cause. Jim Burns, the English voice actor, is really hamming it up in this scene.
Are you telling me that you find a prison more suitable?
That's the guy who played Inferno in Beast Wars. Inferno. Relina believes that she would just be trampling over the masses suffering from oppression. Dermail tells her to think it over and that the longer she takes, the more people will end up dying. Both the Epion system and Zero system are being overwhelmed by one another, and the two pilots both fall as dramatically as possible. Tuberoff is informed that production is up. He leaves the barge and heads to the lunar base. In his shuttle, he notices manned Leos. Something isn't right. Some of the Oz soldiers begin taking over the lunar base. These revolutionaries were former members of the Trace faction, along with others who now go by the name White Fang. They are led by a man named Kantz. They take Tuberoff hostage, but he is able to run away. Soldiers get a shot on him. Tuberoff is able to activate the mobile dolls who begin attacking White Fang. That is when Wu Fei and Altron Gundam come in and attacks the mobile dolls. As Wu Fei tears through the place, Tuberoff goes mad before exploding by the hands of Altron Gundam. White Fang has successfully taken over the base, and with it, they also took the Libra. More on the ship soon. Back at the Sank Kingdom, Zex and Hiro stare into each other's eyes. Hiro says, "I'm taking Wing Zero back, bye!" He leaves Epion with Zex and tells him it was made by Trace. The two get into their new mobile suits and push their way through the Oz forces. Relina reluctantly decides to become the chief representative of the Romefeller Foundation. Even though Tuberoff has been defeated, Oz still fights against the remaining forces who resist the Romefeller Foundation in space. People like White Fang. As some defend themselves from attacking mobile dolls, Wu Fei comes in to help. Noin goes to meet with Wu Fei. Last time they met, Wu Fei made fun of her for being a woman.
A woman? Now it makes sense.
She asks for him and the Gundam pilots to help bring peace in space and on Earth. She wonders why she is still fighting for the Sank Kingdom, which was just destroyed. She says that the ideas of peace live in all of the people of the Sank Kingdom. But you know Wu Fei.
Sounds like something a woman would say.
He says that he is going on his own path and not taking any orders. Meanwhile, Duo looks for a job. Yep, that's what you wanted, right? He stumbles onto a job listing posted by an asteroid operated by the Winner family. He realizes that that must mean Catra is back. Because of a job posting? Such a weird moment. Duo goes to meet with him. He wonders where he was the whole time. Catra tells him about what happened on Earth, but Duo is over fighting. He tells him about Troa and goes to visit, but he doesn't remember who he is.
Troa's a lot happier now being here at the circus with us.
No one is happier at the circus. No one. As the circus performance begins, White Fang and Oz begin fighting in the colony. The English voice actor for Catherine forgets what character she is playing for a few lines as she thinks she is in Gone with the Wind.
There. It's all right. I'm here by your side.
Gone with the Wing. Troa doesn't know anything, but he knows that he can protect Catherine if he fights. He decides to help Catra. Sandrock comes in to attack Oz.
No, it's a Gundam!
Catra does the scimitar shuffle on a few mobile suits. As Troa leaves to help, he gives Catherine such a powerful glare that rhythm of motion begins playing. I wish I could do that in real life. He promises her he will come back alive. On Earth, the newly appointed Queen Relina gives a speech to the people. She asks for everyone to put down their arms and declares that their nation is one nation, the World Nation. This is the beginning of the Earthsphere Unified Nation, or ESUN. Trace watches on. Duke Dermail thinks that he has a reign on Relina, but he seriously underestimates her. This will be a bigger risk for the Romefeller than they realize. Zex drinks coffee in a diner when Kantz and White Fang come in looking for him. They want him to come back to space with his Gundam. The Romefeller Foundation wants Dermail to step down from his position, and they won't force him like they forced Trace. The Duke tells him that he will certainly step down, but now is not the time. Others believe that Dermel brought Relina in as queen to protect his position, but in doing so, it takes power out of his hands, and the other Foundation members see this as well. Relina's position as queen is all for show, but they want to make it a reality now. Troa and Catra meet up with Noin. She tells them that Wu Fei won't join them. Hildy notices the colony being taken over by rebels. She returns to find some people harassing Duo. They want to use the Gundam as a symbol for their cause, but he ain't having it. Duo feels uneasy around White Fang, but at least if he teams up with them, he could fight for the colonies. But of course, these sad boys have to go their own way. White Fang is working to get the Libra up and running. They want to use it to monitor the colonies from attacks. As Noin and the gang make it to White Fang territory, Oz begins attacking. Troa, the guy with memory issues, heads out first and attacks them. Catra launches soon after, but Sandrock isn't optimized for space. Troa, again, the guy with memory issues, is able to take out Oz mobile suits no problem. Just try harder. Have you just tried a little harder? You ever think about that?
We just need to hit them really, really hard.
Noin bails and blows the ship. Catra goes in to save him, but that is when Death Scythe comes in to save the day. Cue rhythm of motion. Meanwhile, Relina reminds Hiro that he needs to kill her and her fake notion of peace. Now you are speaking my language, Hiro. Mike Howard wonders where Zex is as he hasn't returned from Earth yet. They continue his mission to find the Gundam pilots using the Peace Million. On Earth, Hiro begins fighting against Oz with the guerrillas.
It's a Gundam!
Meanwhile, Relina is piecing it up with all her peace and influencing the other Rockefeller Foundation members to go against Dermel. He can't get rid of her now, as he would be the first person people would point fingers at. Dorothy suggests that he go into space and prepare for the next battle instead of trying to fight a losing battle. Also, did she just flick her eyebrows? He heads to space and commands the Space Fleet on their attack on White Fang. Ultron Gundam begins making its way for the Libra. Wu Fei is on a mission to do his own thing. White Fang starts up the Libra even though it is not finished. The Libra is a giant space battleship designed by the Gundam scientists. It has a giant beam cannon that is one of the most powerful cannons seen in this universe. However, one of the scientists built a flaw in the system that would require repairs after each fire. Because of this, it isn't used often. Later, we will see that this ship also has a mobile doll control room and will eventually integrate the Epion system into the control room. Hiro sneaks into the Rockefeller Foundation and finds Relina pouring peace all over these old men. Hiro is ready to kill her. White Fang is finally able to neutralize Ultron Gundam, but it is not destroyed. Zex tells White Fang that the Gundams are fighting for the people of Earth now. She calls for the people to lay down their arms and start anew as a peaceful nation. Before Hiro shoots her, the Rockefeller Foundation clap in agreement with her. They agree to try for peace. Hiro lets her live for now. White Fang leader Kantz makes a declaration of war on the Rockefeller Foundation, claiming the Gundam is attacking the colonies. Hiro watches on and realizes Wu Fei is being used. Relina and the Rockefeller Foundation think they are being tricked. Duke Dermel's space forces get overrun by White Fang mobile suits. They destroy his ship, killing the Duke. Dorothy gives her best attempt at acting.
I won't cry, dear grandfather.
Kantz tells the world that they have a new leader. It is Zex, now going by Milliardo Peacecraft. As Relina makes strides towards peace on Earth, he wonders, why make this turn now? Hiro does his best Spike Spiegel impression. The Oz soldiers prep the barge cannon and send out all their Taurus mobile suits. They arm them with additional laser cannons, but they won't be able to handle the output without things going wrong. It doesn't matter. They need all the power they could get. White Fang and Oz forces engage in battle. This battle will decide the outcome of space supremacy. Zex in Epion joins the battle. Noin wants to go talk to Zex. There must be a reason for what he is doing. Duo, Ketra, and Troa decide to join. Troa still doesn't have his memories. Hiro heads to a base to try to hitch a ride back into space. When he runs into Sally Poe, she gives him heavy arms to take back up into space. She doesn't know where Troa is, but it is better suited in his hands. That is when Oz begins attacking. Hiro defends Sally as she preps to launch to space. The Rockefeller Foundation are meeting over their failed attempts when Trace and his faction interrupts the meeting and begins taking back power at Rockefeller. Trace meets with Relina. After meeting with the others, he is forcing her to give up her position as queen. Oh man, did you even watch last episode? She was like, peace this and peace that. She ain't giving up this position she initially never wanted.
I will give up my rights as the representative.
Are you kidding me? I listened to all that peace talk for nothing. She wants to first talk to her brother before giving up her position. The battle wages on. Zex Aznable tears through the lifeless mobile dolls. Noin, Troa, Ketra, and Duo make it to the barge. Troa's initial reaction is to run off and protect the colony. The other two run into Epion.
It's the Epion Epion Gundam.
Thanks, Noin. Oz fires the barge cannon. The Gundam dodges, but it takes out many White Fang's ships and mobile dolls. It misses the colony, but it causes massive turbulence to the citizens. The Gundam pilots collect themselves and begin fighting Epion. They note that it is on par with Wing Zero. The barge preps the cannon for another attack. Noin comes from behind and holds off Epion. She tries to talk to Zex. Why become Relina's enemy? He is consumed by the Epion system, but Noin thinks he is totally being serious when he says that Earth is the problem for all people of space. He runs off to rejoin the battle. Noin tries to chase, but she is sloppy and Troa saves her from the mobile dolls. They rush towards the barge cannon. It is ready to fire. They aren't going to make it, but Zex comes in and slices through the barge and destroys it. Cue rhythm of motion. Noin is disappointed in what Zex has become. One of Lady Un's subordinates, Nicole, lands on Earth. He brings her down from the barge. Lady Un is still in a coma. Trace visits her. He says that she never left his heart for a moment, but things are about to pop off. Trace makes a speech to the Romefeller Foundation. Relina used to say, "What if peace through peace?" But Trace has the radical suggestion, "What if peace through war?" Think about it. Trace is also putting on a mask for the people. As Relina heads to space, she looks at herself in the window and gives herself a pep talk. More fighting between White Fang and Oz happens out in space when Wu Fei in Ultron Gundam shows up and causes damage. But Ultron is also dead in the water. Hiro and Sally Po happen to stumble across him. Meanwhile, the Libra is battle ready. White Fang is getting stronger, but so too are the people of Earth as they all unite under Trace. Sally Po is heading to the Peace Million and suggests that Wu Fei join them to get repairs, but he wants to go to the Libra. That is when they get a red alert. 40 mobile dolls approach their location. Wu Fei wants to go out in his broken Gundam, but that would be suicide. Hiro lets him use Wing Zero. He tells him, "You will have the best trip of your life piloting this sucker." But he also mentions that the Zero system shows you who your true enemies are. Wu Fei launches and begins attacking the mobile dolls. Just like when that acid kicks in, so too does the Zero system. Ah yeah, that's the good stuff. The Zero system shows him both the faces of Zex and Trace. He realizes that he was on the right path this whole time. But then the Zero system shows him the Gundam pilots. He realizes his path must be with the other Gundam pilots. Zex gives his speech to all of humanity about destroying Earth.
To accomplish that, we have to eliminate the hotbed of all these battles.
Yeah, that is a hefty demand. Don't think they're going to abide by that one. He's trying to have his Char's counterattack moment without becoming for vagina. He makes his speech on the Libra when Dorothy's shuttle approaches. They were childhood friends, and she wants to assist him in battle. She goes, "I am going to Lady Un this shit." He allows her to board the Libra. Noin detects a shuttle. It is Sally Po, Hiro, and Wu Fei. They join the rest of the Gundam pilots on the Peace Million. Troa is reunited with Heavy Arms, but Wu Fei says that he shouldn't get in the mobile suit as he doesn't even remember who he is. Oz takes over Colony C-421. They hold it hostage in exchange for White Fang to return the Libra. This happens to be the colony where Catherine and the circus is located. Hiro realizes that Zex will most certainly sacrifice the colony and not give up the ship. On the Libra, Zex decides to take the ship to the colony C-421 and test the weapon. Kance is concerned that they will destroy the colony, but Dorothy tells him that sacrifices must be made. The Peace Million notices that the Libra is changing direction and wonders if he will attack the colony. Troa finds out that Catherine is in C-421. While Mike Howard is fixing the Vernier thrusters, he gets into Heavy Arms and goes to save Catherine. Hiro starts to believe that Relina may be the only one who can stop Zex from firing on the colony. Troa begins attacking outside of the colony. The Zero system consumes him. Catra and Sandrock comes in and snaps him out of it. He suddenly regains his memories. Inside of the colony, Duo takes care of the Oz soldiers. As Libra makes its way to Earth, Relina hails Zex and tries to talk some sense into him. Dorothy expected her to come. Zex begins the countdown to attack Earth. The Gundam pilot realizes that the threat on the colony was a ruse. He is heading to Earth. There's nothing they could do. Zex fires the main cannon. It hits Earth, but doesn't hit any major cities. It was simply a warning shot for Trace. There is no turning back now. On board the Libra, Relina tries to convince Zex of peace by piecing it up, but Zex is like, "Nah bitch, war." On board the Peace Million, the Gundam pilots are plotting to go up against him. Noin still thinks that he is on their side, but she isn't seeing things clearly. Before they could debate if he is the enemy, Zex decides for them by sending a fleet to attack them. Hiro says that he isn't joining this battle and they will have to go without him. He has to fix Wing Zero. Wu Fei rushes in first. They all split off and begin fighting. Noin is mad they never fight as a team. They note that these particular mobile dolls are thinking more strategically. They are struggling in battle. Dorothy goes to talk to Relina. She goes, "Here, have a gun. Shoot him with all that peace." Relina doesn't want to achieve peace through violence. She locks Relina in her room. The Gundams are able to defeat the mobile dolls. Zex didn't think that they would be able to take them out, but this is his first step in his war of attrition against the Gundam pilots. Hiro still doesn't have the necessary power to defeat Zex. The pilots are heading towards Libra. Wu Fei wants to go for a direct attack, but Catra knows that won't work. Hiro hands Mike Howard 4 3.5-inch floppies, which contain the Zero System. The 90s. What a time to be alive. Dorothy is working on getting the Zero System to work with the mobile dolls. The Peace Million approaches the Libra. Hiro gave Catra the Zero System because he believes it is a good system for a leader. But Catra doesn't think he has what it takes. He says he is going to focus on Epion, but Catra will take charge of the attack on Libra. Hiro says, "Figure it out, bye." They head out for an attack, but they all go on their own. They are still unorganized. Meanwhile, Dorothy is controlling mobile dolls and the Zero System on board Libra. Hiro and Zex engage in battle. Zex says that this battle will end all battles. There are simply too many mobile dolls. Catra activates the Zero System and truly takes charge. They are finally working together. Catra holds back the Zero System from consuming him. Dorothy tells Kance to use the main cannon. The Peace Million needs to overdrive its engines to move in time, but that will destroy the engines in the process. Zex wonders what Dorothy is doing. The Libra cannons fire, but it only grazes the Peace Million. Zex thinks that he may have given Dorothy too much responsibility. He takes his retreat.
I must put an end to this meaningless battle.
Yeah, you keep saying that, Relina. The pilots return to the Peace Million. Catra removes the Zero System. He receives the motivation needed and no longer needs it. On Earth, Trace begins sending his forces into space to fight against White Fang. Zex says that this battle will be the final battle. Wait, you said that about the last battle. Meanwhile, Hildy sneaks on board the Libra while stealing data. She runs into Dorothy and Relina, who is currently looking over the rebuilt Mercurius and Viate. Hildy talks to Relina and tells them about the Gundam pilots. She tells her to make her escape. Hildy wants Relina to join, but she has to stay on board for reasons. A Taurus makes an escape from the Libra and heads to the Peace Million. Kant sends out the Viate and Mercurius to chase after her. The Gundam pilots begin fighting with the mobile dolls. Hildy is getting wrecked by the Viate and Mercurius. She sends out a transmission to Duo and he goes after her. Death Scythe saves Hildy right at the last moment and fights Viate. Hildy tells Duo that these two mobile suits took data from the Gundam pilots. He could tell that the fighting styles are that of Troa and Hiro. He recognizes their pattern quickly. They are still just dolls. He takes out the Viate and Mercurius and checks on Hildy. She shows Duo the data on Libra for them to use. The Gundams are able to take out all of the mobile dolls. Hiro is informed that Relina is on Libra. He wonders if he should go and save her. Or kill her? It's really hard to tell with this guy. One thing that I forgot to mention last episode is that the majority of the mobile dolls have been upgraded to the Virgo 2. The WF-02MD Virgo 2 is the evolution of the Virgo mobile doll and takes features from both the Mercurius and the Viate. It uses the planet defensors just like Mercurius. Planet defensors are the closest thing to funnels in this universe thus far, and creates an electromagnetic force field. Other weapons include a beam rifle, a beam saber, and a mega beam cannon. As Trace prepares his forces for Earth, he looks up at the mobile suit, the Tall Geese 2. The Oz 00 MS2 Tall Geese 2 was built specifically for Trace. Unlike the original Tall Geese, the face of this mobile suit resembles the Gundam. Although certain sections of the Tall Geese 2 were made of Gundanium alloy, the mobile suit's basic performance was unchanged from the original Tall Geese. The Dober, like the original Tall Geese, utilizes a cartridge system and can take out mobile suits with a single shot. Other weapons include a shield, a beam saber, and in Glory of the Losers, a heat saber. Lady Un is still in a coma. Meanwhile, in Luxembourg, Oz soldiers find Hiro's regular wing Gundam that he left behind. He wonders who will pilot this thing. Don't mind that we just cut to a shot of Lady Un. I'm sure that won't play into this. Hiro goes to save Relina. Troa tells Wu Fei to not be sexist around Relina if he decides to save her. Hiro crash lands onto the Libra and sneaks away as Oz soldiers goes to put out the fires. Zex is certain that it is Hiroyui. Hiro frees Relina from the room and they go to pay Zex a visit. He was waiting for them. He wonders why Hiro doesn't lead White Fang as he is from the colonies. They should be teaming up. Zex believes that he can achieve peace through this war, but Relina doesn't want him to resort to violence to achieve his goals. There really is no meat on this bone. They realize that they are talking to a hologram, and they depart back to the Peacemillion. Suddenly, Lady Un awakes from her coma. Trace contacts Zex. He challenges Miliardo to a duel to decide the fate of the world. Zex says no, which Dorothy wasn't expecting. Chivalry no longer has any meaning to him. They fire the cannon at the tall geese too. He also restrains Dorothy for being a traitor. Trace rushes towards the Libra. Zex fires the cannon. Before getting hit, Wing Gundam pushes him out of the way. The Gundam is destroyed, except for the cockpit, of course. Trace realizes it is Lady Un.
Lady, what did you do that for?
I always forget that Lady is Lady Un's first name. Both Trace and Zex send out forces. Lady Un is watching from MO2. She doesn't have her glasses, so she is in her nice persona. Hiro has no intention in fighting against Zex or Trace and wants to let them kill each other. Duo notes that the Libra has to fix their cannon every time they fire it, so it gives Earth and Trace some time. It seems that the main threat right now is Libra and White Fang. Everyone but Hiro launches and joins the battle. Zex joins in Epion along with a few Libras. They fight the Gundams. Zex now has the Sturm und Drang from the Mercurius and is able to block beam attacks no problem. He keeps going after Catra as he knows he is the leader. Kantz notes that MO2 is doing nothing during the battle and thinks it is just a supply depot for their base of operations. MO2 is a former mining asteroid floating around Earth. It has been completely mined out and left to orbit. Trace is currently using it as a base of operation during this attack. The Peacemillion realizes that the Libra will just bypass MO2 and aim their cannons directly towards Earth. Howard and Sally Poe decide to evacuate the crew and crash the ship into the Libra. Zex realizes their plan and heads out for the Peacemillion. The Gundams chase after him. That is when Noin blocks Zex. She doesn't want to fight him, but she refuses to shoot him. Zex rushes and takes the sword to Noin, but he stops his attack. He retreats for now. Peacemillion rams into Libra's main cannons. Mike Howard and the remaining bridge crew are still alive. Kantz's voice actor really gives an elementary school level performance.
This is the end for Libra.
That's David McKay. He played Cameron Bloom in the original series. He wasn't that bad, but I'm always looking for an excuse to use the Midai flips off Cameron Bloom scene. Hit it. Hiro and Relina are still on board the Libra. He needs to get back to zero. Kantz tells Zex that the Libra is still 70% operational. Also, Sally Poe tells Catra that everyone is okay, but the Peacemillion is dead in the water. No one apparently got hurt in this giant collision in the middle of a war, and they say Seed has invincible plot armor. The Gundam pilots will try to destroy the Libra from within. Wu Fei goes off on his own. Noin also goes off on her own. Catra, Troa, and Duo split up and search for Hiro and Relina. Catra runs into Dorothy. Duo runs into the Gundam engineers. They tell him that they were the ones that built the fault into the Libra's cannons. Duo wishes he never found these guys. Relina wants to talk to Zex one more time. Hiro heads back and gets in Wing Zero. Noin goes to be by Zex's side. Dorothy calls Catra the most misguided of all the Gundam pilots. Wu Fei and Trace and the Tall Geese begin fighting. Trace says that the mobile dolls allow humanity to fight at the push of a button. Remember, he is an honorable nobleman who doesn't even use ranged weapons. As he puts it, when humanity resorts to such methods of fighting, God no longer lends a helping hand. Wu Fei is tired of his speeches. Duo wonders what the Gundam engineers are up to. They want Duo to take them to the Peacemillion to change it in Libra's course. They want to put a stop to Zex's plan. Kantz is informed that the Libra will create a 6,000 megaton explosion. A nuclear bomb has about 50 megatons, and the colony drop on Australia was about 60,000 megatons, or 60 gigatons, just to give you some relative scope of Libra's destruction. So bigger than a nuke, but merely a fraction of a colony. Regardless, it is enough to create nuclear winter. Kance also understands that if Peace Million's thrusters are used, it can ruin their plan. Raylina doesn't want Hiro to go fight while White Fang is on the verge of losing this battle. But he knows that both Zex and Trace will never stop fighting, which is why he must fight. By fighting, he stops the fighting. Huh? He says that this is the only thing that he could do for her. Remember when he wanted to kill her? Good times. Hiro launches in Wing Zero. Dorothy shows Catra the mobile doll control system. He recognizes that it uses the Zero system. Dorothy's desire to fight is what drives the mobile dolls. He doesn't want to fight if he has to, but he begins a fencing duel. All while Dorothy is controlling the mobile dolls. Something something family honor, something something fighting for vengeance. Thrust, jab, swing. Sally Poe, Raylina, and Mike Howard make their way to MO2 on a shuttle. Duo and Troa say their farewells as they go on their own separate missions. Duo gets the Gundam engineers to Death Scythe. He regrets picking up the Gundam engineers as he runs into many mobile dolls. The Magwanac Corps assists in the battle in their Magwanacs. Dorothy suggests that Catra should have staged his own coup with the colonists like Zex. She goes on a survival of the fittest rant. Trace says that Wu Fei should be like Cisco and unleash the dragon, but he wants to make it an even battle. Wu Fei asks rhetorically how many people died for him, but Trace gives him an exact answer. He even gets Lady Un to give him an update on how many people died currently in this battle. Trace says that he remembers the name of every one of his men who died. And I call bullshit because that number was 99,927 people. No one could remember that many names. He says none of them died in vain, and he rushes in. Wu Fei uses his beam trident and stabs Trace, expecting him to retaliate, but Trace didn't attack. Wu Fei kills Trace, not expecting to win this battle. Damn you, Trace, I was the one who wanted to die pointlessly in this battle. It was supposed to be me. Lady Un tells her men to declare defeat, even though White Fang is victorious. They plan on still ramming Libra into Earth. The only person who may actually be able to stop the ship is Hiro. Wing Zero approaches Epion. Noin is still watching as Zex and Hiro fight. She realizes that Zex intends to die here on the battlefield as a way to pay for his sins of humanity. That's such a Char thing to do. Lady Un wants to destroy all the mobile suits under Trace's plan once they come back from the battlefield. Sally Poe and the gang make it back to realize that this was Trace's plan towards peace the whole time. The drama queen Lady Un goes, "Kill me, please." Raylina looks her in the eyes with a stern face and says, "Peace?" Lady Un says, "You're right. I won't kill myself today." Duo drops off the engineers on the Libra and continues fighting. Troa heads to the Libra to find that Catra has been injured by Dorothy in their duel. Catra tells him to save Dorothy and leave him. Troa also looks him in the eyes and without hesitation says, "Bros before hoes." The two leave Dorothy to fend for herself. Duo is slicing through mobile dolls when they stop moving. He meets up with Catra and Troa. Lady Un contacts Noin and asks if she could transmit her camera feed. She says she doesn't take orders from her anymore. Lady says it's okay. I peace now. I guess that's all Noin needed. She transmits her camera feed of the two fighting. Raylina then transmits a message to the people of Earth. They show Noin's camera feed and Lady Un says that none of you matter in this world. All that matters is this fight right here. Your life is meaningless. The engineers are programming a change in the ship's course when Kance shoots Dr. J. Kance blames them for interrupting Operation Meteor. Professor J says they're going to interfere one last time and pushes a button on the console. Kance shoots and kills the Gundam engineers, but Professor J sets off an explosion, changing the trajectory and killing Kance in the process. The ship begins to change course. However, a section of the Libra has broken apart and is still falling towards Earth. At that time, the colonists denounce White Fang and wish to work with Earth to achieve peace. They also apologize for being fence-sitters while almost 100,000 people died.
Also like to apologize for the suffering endured by many people as a result of our unclear stance.
The Gundams go in to destroy the falling pieces of Libra while Zex and Hiro continue their fight. The two mobile suits do a Star Wars. Classic. Hiro takes out Zex's arm. He wants Hiro to kill him, but he says Raylina would be sad. He is inside the falling piece and can destroy it from the inside. The Magwanac Corps comes in to assist Catra as they try to take out the falling debris. Hiro makes it to the core, but he is out of weapons. All he has left is his favorite button, the self-destruct button. Before pushing it, Zex comes in and says, "You aren't dying here today. I am. Wild card!" He stabs the core of the remaining Libra. It begins exploding. Hiro has access to his Buster rifle, so the remaining Gundams and the Magwanac Corps all retreat. Hiro gets ahead of the piece and takes aim as he begins entering Earth's atmosphere. He steadies his aim as the Zero system reaches its highest levels. He fires, taking out the falling piece. Everyone looks on at the explosion. Hiro comes out of the light. He survived. Hiro says, "Mission complete." After Colony 195 is nearing a close, and the formation of the new Earth Sphere United Nation is passed between Earth and the colonies. On Earth, Dorothy wonders why Noin never visits Miliardo's grave. She says it is because she knows he is still out there. Amongst the Earth Sphere United Nation, Relina becomes the new Vice Foreign Minister, doing what she does best. Peace. It's always peace. As she boards a plane, she sees a letter left by Hiro. He tries to sneak away, but he sees Relina. She tears his letter, just as he once did. And that will conclude Mobile Suit Gundam Wing. I have no idea how this was my favorite show as a child. This was a rough one, and I am starting to realize most of my love for this show comes from Endless Waltz. But that is where we are heading next in the After Colony universe. We move forward a year to the end of AC 196 and the beginning of AC 197. We learn about Troa Barton. Nope, not that guy. The real Troa Barton. Yep, that's the guy. And we will also meet a supposed daughter of Trace who wants to bring back war. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, peace, 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 peace. Peace.